I said depression. When depression came, I didn't see the past in my life had caught up with me. The violent abuse I suffered as a child, my uni education that had been denied, so many things I suppressed inside, with nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. In a pitch black tunnel with no light in sight, depression came like a thief in the night. Don't know if it came from the left or the right, but in denial I put up a fight, with coke and alcohol abuse to make things right. My appetite for business and money was gone. Life became devoid of fun. A good woman was needed, but I couldn't find none. My chances were 1,000,000,000,000 to 1. As suicidal thoughts came along, it took much more than just being strong.
Yes, greetings and greetings and greetings. First, I want to give thanks and praise to the Most High. Give thanks for life. Give thanks to Bless Radio. Give thanks to all the freedom stations out there. Also want to big up to Ragga D. Also want to big up to Jam Master, the Jam Master Show. I want to big up all those who come before us, our parents, because the reality is that if it weren't for our parents, we wouldn't be here right now. If it weren't for our grandparents, our parents wouldn't be here. So that's why we give thanks for those who come before us. So we have a serious show, you know, enough information, and we're gonna touch on all kind of subject matters. We're gonna talk about abuse. We're gonna talk about mental health. We're gonna talk about business, money, scene. Yes, you're gonna be touched by some serious information. So you're lucky to the big one.
The absence of light.
So you listen to
As I slip
my brethren here, Tamara, as you know, a serious
by the riverbank,
wordsmith,
yet somehow
a poet,
jumped in.
and he rejoins
Though the voice
a little bit later on.
from the water
See,
was
and inside the house we do have our beautiful sister
as
Tracey,
trains came into the station,
and she'll be sharing her journey with us. See,
so I wouldn't fall.
and also we have Leroy
Keeping myself alive,
inside the house as well, and he'll be
hanging
touching
by a thread.
some business, because these things about business.
Clung
And in fact, Leroy, what are we talking about? I don't know what we talking about. Just talk to us, Leroy.
having brutalized me.
All right. Whoa.
It's so powerful,
I'm
Leroy.
powerful, man. Do I need a mic?
So we
Good.
go. The people know you'll be touching on a little bit later on, Leroy.
Yeah. Well, I'm a guy who loves commerce, showing people different ways in which they can expand their financial well-being as well as their physical well-being. So I'm going to touch on that aspect, and also want to talk about a product which is revolutionizing people's quality of lives in a way I've never seen before.
Okay then. So that's Leroy. Okay then. So very shortly we're gonna start with our sister Tracey in a second,
And gave me the peace.
and
I
she'll be
need
sharing her
the
journey
power
with us.
of love to be released, as self-centeredness gradually became deceased. Cleansed with confession and forgiveness, I was no more a prisoner of the past. Now became the only place to be, with the future always looking bright. Now I know that darkness is always the absence of light. I repeat, now I know that darkness is always.
All right. As I said, we do have a beautiful sister inside the house, Sister Tracey. And what can I say about our beautiful sister? You know, she's written up quite a few books. I think it's 2 or 3 books. Again, she's a spoken word artist. She does workshops around that particular area. I know she's putting together another project in terms of writing. And I think she's involved, I'm not sure she's involved in a women's group, but I know she's quite active where she is. And she's like what we call a buzzy bee, you know? buzzy bee, you know? And she's got a very beautiful soul, a very beautiful spirit. And sometimes I know her partner very, very well, you know? Very good friend of mine from the early days, you know? So it's good to know that we were just connecting all the time, you know? All the time. So, Tracey, how you keeping, my sister? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, thank you.
Okay.
Good evening. Beautiful day.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful day. So, Trace, I wonder if you just give a little background about yourself and how you got involved with the whole thing of writing and, yeah.
Well, a long time ago, I started writing when I was younger because I started writing songs, and I was about 15 in school, and I came to realise it was a lot of emotion on paper. But then I had a few people around me that had studios and they were producing their music, and one guy showed me how to put it together. His name was Albert. And then I started writing the songs and singing the songs.
Okay then. So you start by singing or?
Yeah, singing more, and then I said to myself, right, I'm 15, I don't need school. What do I need to be in school for? I'm going to go around the world, I'm going to give positive messages, and I'm going to spread the word and be a singer.
Okay then. So first you wanted to be a singer, yeah?
Yeah, and I sing now, so.
Are you still singing?
Yeah, I sing now. I get paid to
That's
sing.
something I left out on your CV. I was giving out your profile. So you see, she's a singer as well, you know what I mean? So if we had to go through her CV, we'd be another 20 minutes, probably only scratching the surface, you know what I mean? So, okay then, sing.
Yeah.
So who is inspire you as a singer them time then?
As a singer, well, it's hard to say. My dad's always listened to music, you know, brought up on music from Jamaica. I wake up on so-called Christmas Day, as they say, and Bob Marley would be playing first thing in the morning to wake me up. And then my brother, my oldest one, is in a sound system.
Yeah, sound system, you remember?
It was called Tishon. Tishon. That's how I remember it. But I know that's not the words for that song there.
Oh.
But it was Tishon.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Okay then.
And
okay then.
so he used to play his kind of music. He's 9 years older than me. I'm
Okay.
47.
So he's a big man.
Yeah, he's 56.
Yeah, okay.
And then my other brother too. So with them, along with them, and I suppose it was also something to do with the fact that I went to a Church of England school. And we were singing in assembly every single day, and I really loved doing that, and we prayed every day. And well, that's helped me throughout my life, my spiritual journey. That's one of the reasons why I'm still here.
Okay, then fantastic. So, in terms, bring it back to up
The
to
writing.
speed. Yeah, the writing.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, you do a lot of writing, and because of the singing and all that stuff there, right? So, you've written. What's the first book you've written?
The first book is The Angel Smile, and the way that came about was I was working in schools, and there were some children there I worked with, because some of the children I worked with had special educational needs, and so they can be quite shy, and they come across like they've got a low voice and they go unseen a lot of the time. A bit like myself, because I've been shy over the years. I feel I still am,
Okay.
you know, and then they get treated in a different way. So The Angel Smile it's based on a girl, but it's a boy. I made sure it was a black boy because I don't see enough black books out there for children to, you know, be able to say to themselves, okay, that's me in that picture. There's not enough of that, so that's why I did that deliberately. And he gets through the day, through school, and he spends a lot of time on his own in school. And then one day he gets a certificate.
Okay.
And that helps him because he sees that his classmates haven't been ignoring him all this time. It's just because they didn't understand him because had a low voice and he was whispering almost.
Who's that? That's the boy.
That's the boy. His name's Angel.
Angel. Okay. Then.
Yeah. And then that helps him to smile and to when he realizes that, it builds up his confidence,
Mm-hmm.
and he starts reading in front of a whole class, and making friends. And that's what I really encourage as well, to make friends in the book itself.
Right.
And
right.
the audio book that's coming soon, I've put it together. I just got to put it out there.
So what age group is the book target? Yeah, what target?
Targeted towards it's primary school age.
Primary, okay. Then.
Yeah, so key stage 2 kind of age. It all depends on the level of the child, really.
Okay then.
Because there are interactive questions at the end, and the song I put in there.
Oh, you put the song in there as well. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So do you go into schools and do workshops yourself? Or?
That's coming up. I've got actually on Saturday, I'll be doing a fun day, and I'll be selling my books there. And
That's the one in Gozi.
this one there's 2 on. There's Ngozi's one at the Redmond Community Centre,
Yeah. We'll make sure I
the
read it.
Holistic Wellbeing Day.
Yeah.
And then there's another one, a fun day that's happening in my area. And I'll be selling my books there and be telling a story with the children. I've got an hour there to do that, a slot.
Okay, fantastic.
And
Fantastic.
we'll be doing some singing as well.
Okay.
The
then.
song, of course, Dougie. You know
Okay.
the song, don't you, Brother Dougie?
Which song is that?
Smile for you and smile for me. It makes you feel happy wherever you may be. Smile for me and smile for you. From ear to ear, it's so easy.
Fantastic, Just, you see, you got a lovely spirit aboard you. Because imagine when you go into school, the children just gravitate towards you because you got a lovely spirit. And one of the things I say is that, singing is a way of really open up, very expressive. Just open up,
Yeah.
And kids just naturally love to sing and to express themselves. And singing is very powerful tool to just open up and to express themselves.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, very, very powerful. Okay, then. I'm going to play another track from my bedroom here. And it's look like this CD here. All right, then, we're coming back.
My heart was filled with much despair when I was summoned to L'Angleterre to reside with my parents, that was certain. Though powerless, I resisted till the final curtain. My elder said, son, don't you want to see the snow? I, the little boy, spontaneously replied with an impertinent no. Why, they exclaimed, looking puzzled and hard. I, the little boy, replied, I see the snow on Christmas cards. So with Mammy I went one day on a rowing boat to the big ship Genoa. So colossal it caused dismay. Venezuela was the first port of call as we cruised and sailed away. The sea was rough and filled me with fear. The food was not the same, oh dear. The next stop was Genoa, and from there, a train to Rome. Then again we embarked on the big ship, till we docked in England, our new home. Victoria, the underground, oh, it gave me such a fright. With windows that looked into dark.
Yes, the works of Tamara. As you know, powerful man. I let people know, say, boy, I have connection with Tamara. Okay then. I understand that you got another book. You done another book as well, innit?
Yes, that's right, I did. Well, I am, shall I say. I've put that book together a while back now. And I'm looking to release it ASAP.
Okay then. And what's that book's about?
It's A Boy and His Device. A Boy and His Device is about a boy and he has a device. And in this case, it's a tablet. One day he gets it for his earth strong, as I like to say. And he starts saying, okay, this is all what I've wanted. He's wanted this for such a long time. When he finally gets it in his hand, he can't help but be on it all the time. He doesn't put it down. And that is a real problem with a lot of people. I'm not just saying it's children, it can be adults too. We're all guilty of having some kind of device. Our mobiles are one of them. It's just a matter of balancing it out. So he does get it confiscated because he doesn't stick to the rules. One day his mother gets a letter saying he's fallen asleep at school. So she says, okay, that's it, we've had enough. She talks to his father and they sit down and they tell him, right, these are the rules and you better stick by them. Because when you've got a device, it doesn't mean you can't be on one, because they can be very handy. But just limit yourself. So, and then he breaks the rules, of course, like we all would. And then he gets it back again. I'm trying not to tell you the whole story. And once he gets it back, he balances out his life again, because, it does affect him, his social communication levels and skills.
Right. Because one of the things we get to understand is that, you find a lot of kids, and even adults as well, they're just constantly on their mobile phone, right?
Yeah.
And in terms of their communicating with other human beings, it doesn't really exist, you know what I mean? In fact, someone could be here. I understand that someone was telling me this, someone could take someone's number in a party, right? Or in a club or whatever, and they would text the person right beside them. Someone was telling me this the other day, and I said, "Nah, man." He said, "Yeah, you see, we talk about young people,
Yeah,
but they haven't got the ability to communicate, So I find it very, very strange and weird. I don't really how you look on that one day, but I find it strange because, in a club party, if a man want to talk to a woman, him just find some lyrics and him talk, and especially when I ask for a dance, you ask for a dance and him dance and him, you know what I mean? But
instead of text them.
Yeah, text them. I find it a bit strange. I find it a bit out, to be honestly speaking.
Yeah.
But that's the norm. That's the guy was telling me this.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about when you have mobile phones, it affects your ability to communicate with other people,
In person.
In person, yeah.
Yeah, because I saw a post the other day on Facebook, and someone was saying how they don't trust somebody when you're sitting with them in front of you and they're always on the phone, but when you contact them, they take a long time to get back to you. But I can be guilty of that. We get on with other things, not just our mobile phones. We've got to put them down.
Well, there's got to be a balance, and there's got to be a cut-off point. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, they just have to be, etc.
And I must say that this book, A Boy and His Device, at the moment, I did have an editor have a look over it, but mainly it was just making sure, with punctuation was up to standards. But I got some advice to make sure another editor looked at it this time. An editor is a bit different. And I'm glad to say thank you to yourself, Brother Dougie. It's Kensu.
Okay, then.
Yeah, he's looking over it as we speak, and I will be getting it back next week, Tuesday. Kensu, thank you very much. That's what he's told me.
Okay.
So I'm really excited
then.
about that.
Okay, then. Fantastic.
I was just going to say, what inspired this book? Was it based on a real life scenario? And
I'm laughing because, again, it was a boy. It's a boy I know. The boy himself is Michael, and this boy is a boy who exists. He's actually a wonderful boy. He's got a brother called Malachi, and he's in the book too. And he's very active. He loves playing football. And I saw that a lot in school while I was there. The boys play football. One thing they go on about is football. I don't know if boys ever grow out of it, because I know a lot of men still do it, and now women too. And I used to play football when I was younger, and I did play on the old Arsenal ground. And got a medal for it as well, so.
You've just gone up in my estimation now.
And of course, Arsenal is the players that
you see what I mean by the CV getting bigger and bigger every time.
And so with Michael, there are a few boys I know. One of them is my oldest grandson, who got a device, and a friend of mine, my good business friend, her son was always on his device. He likes playing FIFA. And, with some of these children, they don't get to go out anymore.
It's true.
I actually know some children that don't go to school anymore. They don't know. They don't want to go to school, so they say, I'm not going in. They find it hard to communicate. their social skills. This is what it's about, you know. It could be anxiety. And so what they start doing is they have their own world going on through this device, you know. And television's got a big part to play as well. You've got to know when to stop watching the TV. And so that's what I was thinking about them at the time. And I thought, I've got to say something. I mean, in there's a conversation from the mum. She calls a friend because her friend has a child and she's always on the phone. And she don't know what to do with her. She's a teenager. She's at that age. She stays in her room a lot, you know, because that's what they can do.
So the phone is really her company, her friend, and everything.
Exactly. And I don't know about yourself, but when I was younger, the phone was in the other room, and it wasn't for you to be on. It was for your parents.
The front room.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it didn't move around the room so much. It had a cord. Yeah. And you had to get past the lock and try and tap the code to get through.
You know that.
You had to do that. Other than that, you went out to the phone box and spent time on the phone.
But you know something? Again, that's it's true because it used to be phone box, but because obviously these days you don't see people in the phone box these days. You might see one or two, but that's amazing.
Right. Yeah. And then there was black and white TV, you know, 1, 2, and 3. Not all these other channels that are going on now. You know, there weren't that many choices as there is now. So what do you do with yourself?
But I'm gonna spin it around a little bit because one of the things, one of the things I've been talking about for the last probably 2-3 months now, at least 3 months, is about mental health and well-being. And someone was saying to me, this brother called Lyndon, right, Ashamari, he was saying to me that one of the things you saying to me that you should focus on mental health in the school because a lot of kids them are suffering from mental health, right? Because obviously I'm not really aware, I'm not really part of that system to know, but you explain that to me. So because you're quite hands-on, I mean, do you experience kids probably suffer from mental health, especially in their probably 11 onwards? I just want to have a little feel. Do you get that?
Yeah, I do know of it. Like I said, sometimes they go through anxiety. That's what they'll label it as. Yeah. And then depression kicks in. And then they find themselves in a lot and not socialising and not knowing how to communicate anymore. That's what I find most of the time. You know, but I'm not deep in that side of things, and I don't really like to say if I don't know. Yeah. This was
my friend was saying to me the other day. You know, and I was going online, and you know, there's quite a lot of reports or information about young kids them going through depression and all kind of stuff. You know, Leroy, I don't know if you got that. If you know, or you could bring some light to what I just said there, in terms of young people. We're talking about young people in their 11, you know, going through mental depression. Because one of the things that, a lot of the way they socialize as well, because they're on the phone, you know, TV, and their own little world, and they don't really social. And I don't know, if you could bring light.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot of different pressures than when I was growing up. And I think this whole social media thing brings a completely different level of challenges that has presented itself to especially the younger generation who aren't prepared for the maybe abuse that they receive online and having to. It's almost like, you know, when I was at school, you go home and that's it. You're not necessarily communicating with you know, your peers until you go back to school. But now it's never ending because of social media. You're always present. And so the need to be seen, to be doing stuff, to be, I mean, I've seen people go out their ways just to get likes because they're not necessarily liked in reality, but they want to get social, almost at that approval that they're relevant and you know, and it's a different ball game now.
Yeah.
And
so different.
There are places, aren't there? They've got some kind of place where you have your face. You put your own face up on social
right.
media, and then they like, do you like what I look like? I mean, now you're talking about the way you physically look.
Yeah.
And that, you know, you've got enough problems as it is growing up. You don't need anyone telling you about where you look and where you don't look. You know, it all comes down to, or can come down to bullying.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think especially with what we're seeing with the bullying and everything else, you know, that's going on online, it does create that level where unfortunately children feel the only way out is literally taking themselves out because they don't fit in a world where you have to look a certain way or dress a certain way. And what if you don't have that? You know, so
peer pressure.
It's on a different level. It's relentless now because you can't necessarily just turn it off.
No.
You know,
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna play another track by my brother here, and then sister will continue the reasoning.
I've carried a knife, but I thank God to this very day I never, ever took a life. Dishonesty and violence. In HMP Maidstone, I said I'd renounce dishonesty and violence if God granted me parole. And as soon as it was granted, commenced the cleansing of my soul. What was I going to do with so many options in view? The answer swiftly came when, as a victim of a burglary game, all my treasured possessions were taken away, save the Bible and the ganja herb that laid amongst the Psalms that kept me calm while keeping evil away. It wasn't easy. In relapse, I stole and defrauded a little, but by the grace of God, I got back on track with some ganja I bought to sell and to get some money back. And as the business rapidly grew, I became shepherd and head of a ganja crew. Sprinkled ganja in my ital's shoe. Ganja tea was my morning brew. Ganja cakes and pudding for the chosen few. I was strictly ital through and through. Surrounded by gangsters, reggae stars and DJs too, with their crew. The chalice we lit burned an ounce at a time. And as we gave thanks and praises to the Most High Yah, with conscious reasoning on biblical lines. If we smoked 16 ounces, half or 3/4, or all the bill was mine. With 2 restaurants and a nightclub, photography business, pool and electronic games venture, Child record label too, including the ganja business, I was doing very well, thank you. I had a collector's Mercedes, a BMW, and more cars parked outside. The house in which I lived with 3 women, at which men would marvel and sigh. How do you do it? And I would simply say, honesty and money paved the way, resulting in peace of mind and integrity. For ganja. Police stops and searches were a regular thing, with or without wearing bling. No matter what vehicle we were driving, on foot it was just the same. As we played the duck and diving game, with cloak and dagger and the gangster's swagger. We suffered persecution for the herb that heals the nation, keeping the peace in recreation, and gave us economic salvation.
Okay then. So we playing Tamara Works, you know?
Serious.
Seeing serious brother that. Serious brother. My brethren still. Okay then. So you got another book coming out, you're saying?
Yeah, another book. It's an A to Z fruit and veg.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got some facts about the way fruit grows, because a lot of time children, and I do say adults too, because it's true, don't know where these fruits or vegetables grow from.
Yes, true.
Yeah, do
It's
they grow
true.
on a tree? Do they grow at the ground? Do they grow on vines? So I tell them it's from A to Z. So for example, the apple, and then you'll have some facts about the apple and how good it could be for you, or what kind of tree it may be growing from, and then it goes on to be.
Okay then. All right.
And at the moment, it's with the illustrator who's actually painting. He's painting the illustrations as we speak. So like I said on my website, if you look on my website, you see that I say both of my books are coming out. First, the A to Z book of fruit and veg, and then The Boy and His Device. But I'm not sure. They're in the runnings at the moment.
Okay then. So the website, can you let people know about the website?
Yes, thank you. It's www.Tracey, Tracey, J Booth, that's BOOTHE, publishing.com.
Okay then. Well, Tracey, I haven't finished with you yet, but because what it is, right, I'm just conscious of time, and I want to bring Leroy into the mix, because we'll be talking about other things,
Yeah.
but I still want you to be involved, because we're going to touch a little bit about abuse and mental health, and I know that you got enough information around that particular area.
Okay.
And also we want to talk about what the future holds for you. What's the future holds for you personally, anyway?
Well, that's another story. So if you want to talk about that now, to be honest with you, I've been listening to a lot of motivational speakers, one being Les Brown.
Oh, Les Brown is my man.
Yes, every morning I've been doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to be a speaker as well, an international inspirational speaker,
Whoa.
because I do talk a lot when I'm ready.
Ready.
So I thought, let me put it to some use and, you know, help
Okay
people.
then. For me, say Les Brown, because Les Brown is my speaker still, and I play a lot of Les Brown on here. They must get tired of me playing Les Brown.
Well, that's because you're hungry.
Yeah, because you're hungry, you know. Les Brown. I know Leroy know about Les Brown as well, you know. And stuff. In fact, what we should do, we're gonna have a session when we talk about Les Brown. So you need to come in when we can talk about Les Brown
Yeah.
and play his work. In fact, I done an event. It was at the Parkview Academy. It was Ram. I don't know if Leroy was there. It was talking about the truth about. Look at the works of Les Brown. So what we done? What we done? Was you there, Leroy?
I was out of the country.
You spoke the country. What we done? We I showed a DVD of Les Brown speaking. Powerful.
Yeah.
Then we had a panel of people discussing about Les Brown. These people who's been on Les Brown course. Couple of them been on Les Brown course. You know Charmaine, innit? Leroy. Charmaine. Is it Charmaine Smith? You know Charmaine. She's part of Les Brown Platinum Speak. Yeah.
Platinum
Speakers, right?
Right.
And yeah, people who into Les Brown big. And we had a discussion about Les Brown, especially about motivation and all that stuff. And it was really inspiring, you know what I mean? But I'm a Les Brown fanatic, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And people look
love
upon
his
me like I
voice.
said, "What? All you do is talk about Les Brown, you know?
But
Les Brown.
If you listen to him, you know why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
So
one of those people you've got to
one of
listen
those
to in
people.
your life. And you know what? When I started listening, they talk about, write things down. I did write things down, inspirational moments, to keep me thinking about be confident, be the best you can be. And I did put those things down. However, I didn't start a diary. I thought I don't need to start no diary, but of course, 2 weeks later now, I've started my diary. I'm on day 3, and it really does help. Keeps you motivated,
Okay.
focused, so you know what you're doing and where you're going every day. And you know what? It works. What you think out there, that's actually come around.
What about you hear about what Anthony Robbins? You listen to Anthony Robbins?
Not yet. I haven't got to him. What's he saying? What's one of his sayings? I'll tell you.
Well, Leroy can back me up here. And, no, seriously, Anthony Robbins is a giant. In fact, he is a giant as well. He's about 6'7".
Oh,
Yeah.
is it?
What? Listen, man. One of we go to Anthony Robbins on his first day. You got to walk on hot coal fire, bare feet.
Oh.
Yeah, I've done it.
You've done it?
Yeah, I've done that,
You
man.
burned your feet?
No,
You ran?
no, you don't run. Listen, well, Leroy's gonna come up on in a second, right?
Oh, my goodness.
You can't run. You can't run because if you run and you slip now, as worries,
Yeah.
you got to walk. But there's a certain way you got to walk. You got to say "kumos, kumos."
What does that mean?
Means what it means be cool.
Well, to be honest, it's not even so much what it says. It's that.
Sorry,
Am I on? I don't know if I'm on.
Sorry, Leo, you're on now.
Yeah, it's not even so much about the saying of kumos, but it's about putting yourself in a state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so whatever state you put yourself in, you're going to basically zone in, and that's what that's all about. And so the kumos, that chant, is like that could be any chant that puts you in a power state,
Yeah, the Most High.
and you're gonna make your move, and that's you make your move, and it's
Yeah.
it's something to experience.
It's an experience.
We hear about these things, but never get to do it. Where was you doing that then?
I tell you something, it's quite interesting how I got involved in that, you know. At the time, it was my girlfriend at the time, right? Because I've heard of Anthony Robbins, right? And she saw something in the paper where he's coming to London. She said, listen, we're going to go and see him.
Yeah.
So I said, all right then, no big thing, you know what I mean? Right? As a few of us went, right? Because them time I just started fronting around personal development. It's about more than 20 years ago. You know, I try to forget myself. Because them time I just here get involved with Les Brown and thing. When I went there, and Leroy could back me up, we see so much people in this place here. We get frightened. Seriously. I got jumpy. It's like you're at a rock concert.
Yeah.
The first thing the man asks you, right, is going to do the firewalk. I said, where's firewalk? But the funny thing is, that everybody's going, yeah, chatting. Even little kids, I'm going, yeah, yeah, yeah. And for some reason, I got the hype as well. I said, yeah. Right?
Until you see the fire.
I just got the hype. I said, yeah. And then you have to sign something, right? You have to sign something, right? If you do burn yourself, right? You know, you can't sue them, whatever, right? So anyway, right? Right? But the thing is that he has to put in a state of certainty. What's the word they use, Leroy? A state of
Well, I mean, it's you're putting a power state, but
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual
There's the word
word
they
is.
use. There's the word they use.
But you
But
are, it's
you-
a certainty, a power.
You're
certainty.
power. You can put in a certain state
Yeah.
because if not, there's no way you're gonna do that walking up cold.
So a bit like being hypnotized.
To some extent, yeah.
Yeah.
But what
Full
Yeah?
belief.
full belief, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because one of the things they have to say to you that if you do this, it's gonna be the greatest thing gonna ever happen to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to be in a power state. That means yes, and just yeah. And there's been one case, right, where this guy, in fact, Clayton was telling me about this, right?
Right.
He done the firewalk, right? He done it again, but he didn't put himself in a state. And when he went on there, he burnt himself.
On the hot coals.
Yeah, not cold. He actually burnt himself, right? And that's why it's very important to put yourself in a state. It's like anything else. You can go in martial arts, anything. You go through. You
Yeah.
have to be
I did a bit
psycho.
of that too, karate.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you know the thing about being a certain kind of state
Yeah.
and stuff. And yeah, but don't forget, he spends hours. You know, it's not a 5-minute thing where you say, yes, you feel good and you feel strong. Hours from ask Leroy.
Yeah.
It's a good thing Leroy's here, you know, because if I misrepresent information,
I can back you up, man.
he can back me up, he can give me a slap.
Tell a whole army to go run down there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very powerful leadership.
Yes. Yes. So it is powerful. Boy, you got me juice up here, inside this
Yeah.
place here. All right, we soon come up to Tracey, right? What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring the boss man in there, Leroy, inside the place,
Bless you.
With feelings and emotions that have no name, that which I can never, ever explain. Accepting life on life's terms gave me the balance and gave me the peace I needed for the power of love to be released, as self-centeredness gradually became deceased. Cleansed with confession and forgiveness, I was no more a prisoner of the past. Now became the only place to be, with the future always looking bright. Now I know the darkness is always the absence of light. I repeat, now I know the darkness is always the absence of light.
Okay then. We have the next man inside the house there, Brother Leroy. And boy, I was talking about the great man Anthony Rum. We get sidetracked, but boy, we can't get sidetracked because Anthony Rum is a next giant. And you know, I've been listening to quite a lot as well. And I bet Tracey don't know this one, you know. Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
Bob
I've seen
Proctor.
him as well.
You seen him? I see Bob Proctor at the Yes Group.
Right.
Yeah, you seen Bob Proctor?
I've been Bob Proctor. I think it was in Hammersmith, something like that. Yeah. Or the Troxy. No, it was at the Troxy
The one over
in East London.
East London,
Yeah. He was at the Troxy. Yeah, big event. Yeah.
Who organised that then?
I can't remember. It was it was actually a couple of Irish guys. I remember they had a personal development company.
Seriously?
And they had some great speakers, and I remember Bob Proctor coming over and doing his talk. I mean, this guy is Mr. Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
You know?
But when it comes to vibration and looking at your beliefs and, you know, law of attraction and them, he's the master. That's the master teacher right about no. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, master teacher. Anyway, we want to go straight to the cheers. We don't have time to really go into your business now because we're going to use up too much unnecessary time and thing, you know. Just want to go straight to the cheers and let people know about the product you have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know Dougie many years, and Dougie knows me mainly for doing a lot of things online. But earlier this year, somebody reached out to me about a product, and I used to be involved in a lot of nutrition products back in the day because of it kind of stemmed from my cousin who developed breast cancer at the age of 40, and that really kind of took me on a journey of well-being and finding out how I can help her primarily, and it's always been there on the side. So when I heard about this product, this pair of socks and insoles that were helping people get like amazing pain relief, was getting them to move, mobility, strengthen themselves, I was like, man, I need to see this. Because just a bit of a backstory, my dad had a stroke about 3 years ago, maybe just a bit longer, maybe 3.5 years ago now. And so I travel back and forth to Canada and stuff, and I'm not always there to be with him. And sometimes I'm hearing about the amount of different medication he's taking, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. And from somebody, my dad will put me to shame. Like if we were to pull our tops off, and he will show he's got a real six-pack, and I don't know what I've got, right? So just give you an idea about my dad, he was, before the stroke, he was swimming.
Yeah.
He was up in the morning with a walking group. In fact, the day of the stroke, he was up early, about to do a walk with the group and stuff. So, he doesn't smoke. And so he wasn't necessarily somebody who would be, quote unquote, somebody who would get a stroke at that age, just fairly recently retired, and kind of really looked after himself, went to the gym, and, did all the things that I wasn't doing, right? So when people heard that he had a stroke, they were like, nah, it can't be him. It must be a next guy. And so, but he's been on a great road to recovery, and I think, if he wasn't so fit,
it may have been worse.
Oh, it may have been worse.
You know, so he's fighting fit. So when I heard about this product, this technology, this HPT, high performance technology, I needed to understand a bit about it. So I went to a presentation. It's actually in London, even though the company is based in Canada. There was an opportunity to find out more about it. And right now we're just in a phase in the UK where we're just literally kind of just getting more knowledge about the product and stuff. And at some point it will be a product available, commonplace. And so I did my due diligence, checked out this product, and there were some people that I tried this product on, and one of them being my mum, you know. And it's like, for all the years I've been doing business and trying to get my family roped into my businesses, I've never had the other, you know, the scenario where they've come to me asking me about the product. You know, it's always me trying to get them into it.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, do you have that? Do you have those socks yet? Have the insoles come yet? I'm like, wow. From that point, I knew I had something. And so my dad found out when he was wearing the socks, he was able to actually get better movement without using his stick. But what really happened for me was I sing at my church. We do praise and worship of the last few years. And what happened was we were actually going to be at a different location. I've never sung outside of at the church that I go to. And so we were going to be in Hayes, where my mum, in the area where my mum lives. Anyway, she couldn't make it. And the night before, literally 24 hours earlier, I had bought a package with a variety of socks and insoles and stuff. And my mum tells me, oh, I can't make it. I woke up with a back pain and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll see you on my way home. So the lady that's driving the car, she was actually preaching at the event, at the church.
At the church, yeah.
Right? And I was part of the praise and worship at the church. So whilst we're driving back, I stop up at my mum's. I give her a pair of these socks. And she wanted a pair of socks for her husband. And so that was it. I gave her those socks. I said, Mum, just put these on. She had like one of those belts, you know, to secure, you know, help her back. And I said, Mum, put these socks on. You know, that it's gonna help you. Don't ask me too many questions about it, but you know, there's a technology in the bottom of the feet. Once you put these socks on, within 7 seconds, it's gonna make a neuro connection to your brain, and you're gonna basically just be wearing the socks for the next 24 hours. And let me know how you get on. Anyway, the next day I get a phone call from my mum saying she was so skeptical about these socks, but she couldn't believe it. She was telling me she was doing, you know what? She was doing like basically touching her toes.
Touching her toes.
Yeah, this is a lady that couldn't come to the church, right?
Okay.
Because of her back pain. She's got this big belt on to help her back stay, you know, steady or whatever. She's telling me she's lifting her arm over her head. And I was like, Mum, no backflips, no somersaults, right? Just take it easy. And so that was like the journey, yeah, because she was literally the first person I really had a proper connection with the product. And then she was like her husband who is not as active on his feet as he used to be, and she was saying like how he likes them and how he really likes the product.
Okay. Then.
But it's only when I actually saw him. And so back in the day, he would be more like busying around in the front room. You know, we will have a dialogue and stuff like that. But you know, he'll be mainly resting. You know, that's what I'm used to. Going to the house, him being upstairs resting. The next time I'm at the house now, he's in the front. I couldn't get him out the front room if I tried. He was in the front room talking to me, just potting around like he used to be. And I was like, man alive, you know, you're telling me, you know, these socks have kind of almost brought a new leash of life to him. And so it kind of stemmed from there, really. And then the lady that was preaching, by the time she dropped me to my house, she had a mother over from Jamaica, and she's got some tennis injury and stuff like that. So she, you know, let me get a pair of socks. So I want to, you know, my mum's over, you know, and I'll try a pair. And then literally she bought that from me just the day before I went to Canada. And I'm in Canada about a week now. Don't hear anything. So I'm thinking, okay, obviously it may not have worked as I thought it would. I call her up on WhatsApp and she's like, oh my goodness, my mum loves these socks. I said, what? Tell me more. She goes, she's using them without her stick. And I'm like, wait there. I waited a week and you couldn't even tell me that? You know, that's like, for me, big news, right? And so since then, we've had so many testimonials of how this product is working on the human body, regardless of where the pain or where the challenge might be, because, and you'll hear a bit later, a bit more about this, is that the technology, which has been researched for over 45 years, it's helping in so many ways, from sports professionals. And in fact, one of my friends who basically got me to go along to the initial meeting, his son plays for West Ham. I know, I'm praying for him. And, you know, he was coming back from a sports injury, and what his dad was saying, that he noticed he wasn't as stable on his feet as he was prior to the injury. And so he wanted to get a pair of socks for him, because we know, and I've done tests with people. In fact, I did one 2 weeks ago on an 83-year-old man who walks with a stick. And once you put the insoles on, man, I couldn't budge him. He was so steady on his feet. Without the insoles, I can push him over with one finger.
Okay. Then.
But and we do like a little demo with people. And when we do these demos, people can't believe it. They're thinking, nah, man, this can't be happening. Let me do it again. And then, you know, and then they come to the realization is that there's something special with this product.
Okay then. So inside the socks, there are magnets inside them?
No, so what it is, this HPT technology, it's woven into the fabric of the
into the
socks.
fabric. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have, in fact, my bag. I've got a bag here. I had to meet somebody earlier to come in here, and again, she's a lady whose mum was in hospital, and has had other people that have used the socks. In fact, she was saying, look, through you, I've actually sold about 6 pair of these socks, because everybody's like, they're getting a great response from it. And they're like, they can't believe, what is it? So it's the socks, is a patch you can wear. You can have the insoles if you don't want to wear the socks. And they all work in the same format. And they have this I would say this patented pattern, which basically makes the connection to the insoles of your foot, or the bottom of your foot, or if you're wearing the patch, you actually just put it on your inside your arm, and they work in the same way. And so this company's been around several years now in North America, but they are now with literally tens of thousands of testimonials.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I understand that last week, was it not last week, before, you had like I don't know, it was a pre-launch, but you had someone from the States coming over and giving some more information and so forth.
Yeah. So we had somebody come over from Canada.
It was Canada. Right?
Yeah. Good country of Canada. And this is a guy I actually met on June 7th.
Okay, you just praise it. Okay, what's so special about Canada? You know, this man I talk about Canada. When we talk about American information, bring Canada into the thing.
Yeah. You'll have to blame my wife for that. My wife's from Toronto, so that's what's made that connection.
Yeah.
So we went, even though, right, I've been around this product, and to be honest, you know, my main thing is cryptocurrency, digital technology, and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of moved away from like the wellness and stuff like that. I wasn't really so much on it, and so this product is the first physical product I've never worked with a product as good as this, like in my life, like hands down. And the people that I've shared this with, they've never seen anything work this quick. I'll just tell you a quick story on this, because I can literally talk forever on this. I got invited to a private cryptocurrency launch of a UK company that's going to be taking place next month. And so while I'm up there, the guy that invited me from London, he was there, and he's talking to me about, oh man, he's in like pain. He's got all of these things going on. And he's a young guy, younger than me, right? And so my wife had the presence of mind to give him a patch. So she was like, because I said to him, yeah, put this on tomorrow. And she goes, no, put this on tonight, because it's really designed to work for 24 hours. But I've worn a patch in the past, and I've kept it on just a bit longer than 24 hours. Anyway, 24 hours, she said, like, put this on before you go to bed. We see him in the morning for breakfast, and he goes, I can't believe it. This is the first morning I've woken up without a headache. So he's used, whatever body situations going on for him, he's used to waking up with a headache. Secondly, he said he didn't have a hangover. Now he'd been drinking, but I said I didn't know it can help with that. But maybe that's something we need to start advertising. But yeah, so the interesting thing was that he was like, man, that was like crazy, man. He said like, I can't believe how good I felt waking up without a headache, and I've not had to take anything. I was like, wow, that was impressive. You know, this is less than 24 hours, And so he lives in London, so we saw him on Monday. And I just, I sat down with him, and I bought some product over, because he said, look, whatever you've got, I'd be interested to see what, more of a product. So I showed him some stuff. He took an insole, some socks, and some patches. And so this was Monday night. On Tuesday, I messaged him. I said, how you getting on? Have you found any difference? He goes, oh, I've not put them on yet. And I'm thinking, do you like pain? You're telling me you've got these ailments, put the product on. Anyway, I said to him, literally, put the product on now. By Wednesday morning, he's like, I can't believe it. I feel so good. My feet, like whatever he's got a lot of challenges, and he's overweight, right? So that obviously doesn't help. And so, but the body repairs itself while it's sleeping, right? So I wanted him to have the socks on while he was resting, or the patch, so that his body's got constant contact with the product. And so the next day, literally, he messaged me. He sent me about 4 WhatsApp messages, and he's like, "Man, I can't believe just how good I feel on my feet. I ain't got no pain, like the pain I normally get, and the headache and stuff." I was like, "This is."
So the socks you can wear all the time. So nighttime and daytime. And
absolutely. For those who can't see on the radio, I've got my socks on right now, but they're just a regular pair of socks. And
Tracey, feel free to ask a question. If you want to ask any question.
That was going to be my question, actually. So how long?
Is it on? Oh, it's on. Yeah.
Sorry, Tracey.
Sorry, I've got a low voice. Should I project my voice?
Yeah, you're perfect now.
I was just going to ask you, how long do you wear the socks for, or the patch?
Right.
Is there a time limit?
Okay, so what we recommend, any new product, is like anytime the body wants to get a new connection with this, you want to have it on for at least 30 days, okay? So at least 30 days for the body to first get used to it. And secondly, with everybody's body, it's different, right? Some people are going to get a reaction maybe within 24 hours, less than 24 hours, like my friend, like my mum, like my dad, etc. Some people, it's going to take them longer. They've had an ailment that's been with them for years, sometimes decades and stuff. And so it's going to take time for that to actually have an effect. But one really crucial thing, and we've got somebody that may be dialing in a bit later to kind of go into this a bit in a bit more from a scientific point of view, is that what they have done, which blew me away. Now, let's just give you a bit of a backstory on when I went to Canada. The last time I went to Canada was June the 7th. It was the day they had an event. The company had a event, and they had like loads of people there. They had doctors. They had all sorts. I was actually sitting on a table with a surgeon who deals with spine, like a spine surgeon. And there's so many different people speaking. In fact, so when we got there in the afternoon. I got there a bit late. There was a guy talking from stage about how they've done these brain maps. So they've shown what the brain looks like. Like let's say today, in August, and 8 months later, what's happened, and just through wearing the insoles or the socks, how it's helped calm the brain. So a lot of time our minds are racing, and they found especially with a lot of research. One of the guys we were sitting with has done a lot of research and work with children with autism, ADHD, anything like that, and they found through wearing the insoles and the socks how, and we've actually witnessed this in Manchester, where a 9-year-old girl was blew me away. I wasn't there. Phil was actually in Manchester talking about this, where this young 9-year-old girl went up and she was basically saying that she was able to win this race, a race at school. And Phil was like, "Oh, how did you win it?" She was like, "Oh, I was wearing these insoles, right?" And then she went on to say, like, she'd been doing this and it's been helping her. And now her mum is basically in tears because I don't know how long, how long she's been on the product, wearing the product, but apparently the mum was literally at her wit's end, like. Her daughter was, I from what I'm hearing, it was just too much for her to cope with, right, on a daily basis. I don't know, the tantrums or whatever. Okay, then. Since being on the product, it's kind of calm. She is like a different child, like completely, and
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing what we've been hearing.
But you know what? There's one other question, and I know a lot of people are thinking the same as me.
Sure.
So do you have to wash the socks then?
You do. So I mean, I mean the thing with the socks is it's a regular pair of socks, and we recommend people at least have, if they're not going to have 2 pairs of socks, have a socks and an insole. So when they're at work, they might be wearing the insoles. Before they go to bed, they can wear the socks and then just wash them. And they dry, apparently they dry quite quick as well. So by the time they've come home, they can wear the socks at night, or one of them sometimes, because some people don't like to wear socks on their feet, period, when they go to bed. No. And some people are just wearing one of them, and even when wearing one, it's the same benefits.
It does make a difference then.
It does make a difference.
So it's not like you got to balance it out or anything like that.
No, so they're finally just wearing the one pair, and in fact the body will regulate itself. So if it's not used to wearing socks, and then over time it's now wearing the socks, it will know, and it's
so fine. How much are they, these socks?
So the socks,
the patch.
Yeah. So the socks range from, good question, range from £35, roughly about £35 to £40. The socks, insoles about £50, and and again, it's like people that are maybe skeptical, they don't want to spend maybe that much on a pair of socks. But it's funny, when I talk to people about like something that can help them on that level, but they will glad, and I'm not even trying to sell them on this, right? But when it comes to your health, we find we make a massive shortcut, but we'll spend a lot of money on exterior stuff that doesn't feed the body. In fact, it harms the body. But when it comes to actually something that's actually going to heal the body, and this is one thing I really like about this product, it isn't just like it's like a Band-Aid. It's actually gonna get to the root of, it's helping to get to the root of the issue of what somebody might be going through.
Yeah, but I mean, if you invest in socks where you're going to wear practically all the time, I don't think £35 or whatever the case may be, that is nothing.
It is nothing
for your health, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But can I just ask quickly, you see, for the regular man, how easy it is for him to get access to this, as in where to get it from, or...
Yeah. Good question. Right now, because the company has not gone officially live in the UK yet, it's through distributors like myself. So, they can get in touch with Dougie here, or any one of us that may already be part of the company. Part of this initial opportunity. I'm quite in a unique situation in the fact that my wife's Canadian. I'm in Canada. I've seen the head office, and what's actually stemmed this and why this is quite incredible is the fact that the CEO of the company, his mother, at the age of 17, was diagnosed with MS. Okay. Yeah, and I have met people who have got MS. In fact, there was a really powerful video at that event that Dougie spoke about 2 weeks ago, where there was a lady. And she was blown away. So this guy had met her at an event, at a health event. She was promoting whatever she does. She runs a Facebook group helping people, and Terry had his socks at his stand and stuff, and they got into a dialogue, and basically, he got her to basically either buy a pair of socks or take a pair of socks, and she didn't she was so skeptical, didn't believe this could do anything for her. And so we watched a video of what happened with this lady, who had real challenges balancing. Yeah, her balance was off for something that happened to her, and it might be MS related. Anyway, after wearing the socks, she could not believe, like, something she couldn't do, where literally she couldn't do. She had to literally use the support of a table in order to get up. She could do unaided with a pair of socks. And she was like, guys, you might think just by me just getting up unaided is nothing. I've spent the last, I think, 8 years not being able to do that since whatever happened to her. And so it gave her a level of independence on not relying on something or somebody to help her up. And it was incredible to see. But the people that I physically met in the UK who've got MS, I would never know.
Okay then.
Yeah, I would never know.
Then. Okay. All right then. What we're gonna do? We're gonna have a very short break because we want to get Phil into the mix very shortly.
Yeah.
Glenn, you gonna have a question, Glenn, or you're all right? Yeah. You're all right? Okay, no problem. All right then. Glenn will speak to him privately then. Okay then. No problem.
Recent weeks, following suicides by CNN's Anthony Bourdain and comedian Kate Spade, TVJ's Giovanni Dennis has this report.
Too high, the number of Jamaicans experiencing depression. A recent mental illness and homelessness report commissioned by the Health Ministry revealed that more than 40% of Jamaicans have at some point suffered depression. 264 persons were treated at government hospitals for attempted suicide. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton describes it as a big problem.
It affects more people than we care to admit. There is significant stigma linked to mental illness. There is rejection, there is abandonment, and an unwillingness to deal with the issue frontally. And some ignorance, too, in terms of recognizing the symptoms when those symptoms occur.
That ignorance on how to treat with depression and mental health is also rife in schools. The school-based survey indicates that the number of students experiencing depression is higher than the national average.
It's quite alarming that it speaks to a large percentage of the school population who are affected by depression and some who have thought about suicide. Of course, there are a few that have carried it out, unfortunately. And so that information indicates to us in one certain term that we have to do a lot more to sensitize that age cohort and those who are their guardians.
Dr. Tufton said the ministry will be training and sensitizing teachers, guidance counselors and other school officials to detect and assist students displaying symptoms of depression and mental instability who need specific intervention.
We're going to be introducing significant more messaging through a public relations program, not just for the general population, but in the school system, to educate, to inform, but very importantly, to attempt to destigmatize this perception around mental illness and to hopefully get greater levels of empathy and interest on the part of the population to deal with the problem.
He says the current Jamaica Moves campaign will be upgraded to include mental health messages and launched in schools as a means of combating depression. In the meantime, the ministry says persons who need help or know someone who does can call its mental health unit at 876-633-8259 or contact various regional health authorities. Giovanni Dennis, TVJ News.
Hey, what is up everyone, and welcome to another Carib Fusion video. I guess this will be sort of a different video. Recently, Kaleido, he did an interview on Nightly Fix where he was speaking about his struggles with, with everything kind of just going wrong in his life, and he spoke about committing suicide or taking his life. And for the most part, online people have been very supportive. They've been saying, oh, just go and hold it, my brother, and things like that. And I wasn't initially going to make this video, but then it just plagued me to do it. So I think it's necessary. One of the things that people kept saying is, go and hold it, my brother, go and hold it. And I thought, what does that statement actually mean, to go and hold it? And obviously, these are well-wishers, and I'm not saying that they're not well-wishers, so please don't get it twisted. But what exactly is it he's supposed to go and hold? The fact that he's dying inside and feel like he needs to take his life, that life is just so difficult for him that the only way out for him is to take his own life, or the thought of taking his own life brings some relief to him. What exactly are we saying? And that's one of the things that I think that us as a people don't fully understand it. We don't understand what depression is or what it looks like. When I watched that interview, the first thing that came to my mind was he displayed all the signs of someone who is crying out for help. And I really wish that people didn't just take it as a news article and actually saw it for what it is, that someone here is saying to you, things are going really bad in my life. And they're saying, they're attributing it, or him wanting to take his own life because his career is going bad. Believe me, that is just the trigger. The fact that he, was even able to say it, he's probably thought about it so many times. So my question to you who are listening to this, would you know what it looks like if someone in your family has depression or is depressed or is about to take their life? Because especially this time of year, statistics have shown that the biggest killer in men outside of Jamaica is suicide. Yeah, the biggest killer of men is suicide outside of gun crime. So that's something to think about. What is going on within the male population that we don't know about, and especially Jamaican male? I mean, we expect our dancehall artists to be larger than life, but what if they're not coping with life? You know what I'm saying? And, I think a lot of people get suicide mixed up. They think that when a person wants to take their life is because they're weak. The person contemplating suicide doesn't actually want to die. They want the pain to stop. And that's the difference. They don't want to die, but that's the only way that they can see a way out.
Researchers estimate that almost 40% of Jamaicans suffer from personality disorders, a type of mental illness, and that depression and schizophrenia are the most common mental illnesses in Jamaica. Unfortunately, many Jamaicans think that mental illness could never affect them or someone they love.
A lot of young people in Jamaica suffer from depression and don't even know it.
Yeah, we can't take it seriously.
We're taught that it's not something that happens to black people. That's something that happens to Americans or the upper class, people who can afford therapy and them stuff there. There's a stigma. Oh, you mean you're crazy? Oh, you mean you're a mad person? Oh, you mean you need some medicine for that?
Sometimes I have to laugh. I think that's probably the saving grace of Jamaican people, because we're still funny. And a lot of the things we have to laugh. We have to laugh. You know what I mean? Because we have to laugh because it's depressing. It really is. I'm not even trying to exaggerate anything. If you're living here, there are literally things that you have to pretend they're not affecting you in order for you. If you have something that you need to do, if you have to be mentally well to do this thing, you have to pretend all these million other things that are happening don't affect you. Not just your life, but the world, the country and the world in general. You might end up operating like something that's a little bit not human.
What qualifies me to speak? Well, actually, this is my bread and butter. This is what I do for work. This is what I do for study. This is what I volunteer in. I work with people who are at that point in their life. Okay, so when I see this happening, obviously, if I'm on a platform like YouTube, I have to speak about it. It's my duty. So, what I want people to do is, don't bypass this. If someone is saying this, they actually do mean it. And what can you do? Are there people in your family or around you that, are not themselves? Or are we just passing it off and saying, that's how he's always been? Really? We could probably be doing more. And I think this conversation needs to happen now. It's not just white people, middle class people that has depression, and we need to know what it looks like. Okay, so that's kind of what I want this video to be about. Would you be able to recognize the signs if somebody in your family was, at that point in their life, they're at a crossroads, things are going really badly, and that's all they can see, you know. That's what I want people to start thinking about, recognizing the signs and helping someone. And if you're the person who are feeling that way, you know, do you know where you can go and get help and things like that? That's what I want this video to be about. I will leave some links in the description and also at the end of this video that you might find comforting or might help you to get some help if you're the one struggling with this, because it's not easy and people are not always understanding about what's going on with you. So I will leave that there, okay?
It's okay to struggle with mental health problems.
It's not unique to you alone, you know.
Everybody experiences struggles.
Work stress, marital stress.
I struggled with depression and anxiety. Our mind is the gateway to both our spirit and our body.
And persons should be taking care of their mental state in the same way that you take care of your physical state.
I also sought professional counseling, and one of the things that I learned from my counselors is that it's most important for you to take care of yourself first.
Eating right,
exercise,
yoga, meditation.
It's to rest every day.
Getting some fresh air.
Even if it's just a simple drive out, a simple walk out.
If you're struggling with depression,
you should reach out and seek a professional to help you go through these problems. You don't have to struggle alone.
It's important to take care of your mental health
every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Mental health matters.
Alright, and today we're going to talk about mental illness in Jamaica. There's a mental illness crisis in Jamaica. Yes. Right? So let me read this off first. Alright, so what triggers this? Somebody sent a link and said, please address the mental illness crisis in Jamaica. And I said that we have done this topic before, but I think we need to do it again, since people are asking to do it again. This stems from going through the Star, right? I'm telling them before that the Star is one of my favorite papers out of Jamaica. This story says the elderly woman that was chopped to death by a madman, right? And as the story reads, it says an elderly woman was chopped to death in Falmouth, Trelawney, Usain Bolt placed that, by a man who is said to be of unsound mind. The incident took place Thursday morning near the post office on Market Street, and police reports are that Jocelyn Gomez, 72 years old, who lived at Wakeland Drive, was chopped several times by Damon Williams, a 21-year-old, who is believed to be of unsound mind. Williams has since been taken into custody. Remember the youth where chop up the little girl?
Yeah. Greetings. We got someone live?
Hello?
Yes, greetings. Is that Phil?
Greetings. It is. It is that Dougie?
Yes, Phil. It's good to hear from you.
You too, Dougie. How are you keeping?
Everything's good, Phil. It's good to hear your powerful voice.
Oh, thank you very much.
And I'll be circulating the presentation you done at the West Indian Culture Centre. It's on WhatsApp, and we're getting some very positive response from your presentation.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So yeah, we're circulating that around so people get to know more about you, Phil. But,
excellent. Thank you, Dougie.
So, Phil, as you know that we got Leroy inside the house, and also we do have Sister Tracey, who's been doing some work around poetry and talking about well-being and mental health and abuse, etc. So it'd be good now. Just give us a little background about yourself, because, like I said before, this is a man who spoke in front of about 600 doctors, you know, gave a presentation, 600, you know, and had to put them probably in their place, you know, because as you know that some of them are not quite there yet. And not only that, when it comes to health and well-being, Phil is one of the best to me in the country.
That's
one of
very
the
kind,
best in the
Dougie.
country, and the man speaks all over the country, all part of Europe. Last time I tried to get hold of him, he was in Italy or one of them places. He was way out, because he's doing constant presentation around health and well-being, right? So this is someone who I could say we have status when someone phoning on this radio station here, So my chest is getting bigger and bigger when I hear man like Philip coming. But Philip, give us a little background about yourself and give us a little background about the product as well. Yeah.
Yes, certainly. Well, hi to Tracey and Leroy. And, well, thank you for that very kind introduction, Dougie. And what I would say is I've been involved now in the health and wellness arena for over 26 years, even longer, I think. I'm getting old now. And do you know what, everyone? I just see and have seen that we're not going in the right direction as far as medicine's concerned, because nothing seems to be improving. We seem to be getting older and getting iller. And so I've focused on several aspects of the human body. I'm a researcher, I'm a published author, I'm an international speaker, and really and truly what I want to do is to really get people thinking in a different way to the way that we've been taught to think, believe it or not. And the reason I say that is because it doesn't take much to see what is happening. Our health system is collapsing under the weight of ill people. We want to spend our lives getting older, but in a healthy way, not in a hospital bed with cancer or diabetes or all of the other numerous illnesses that we are being constantly bombarded with at the moment. And so really, we need to just have a look and see how we can change the direction that we're going in. And it's very, very exciting times, really, because I like to think of myself as a researcher, and I like to think that I'm keeping ahead of what science has to offer. And what I'd like to talk about tonight is something that I came across only a matter of 4 or 5 months ago now. I met a gentleman in Canada who had been looking at this technology for a number of years, spending a lot of money, millions of dollars, because his mother had multiple sclerosis. And mainstream medicine couldn't offer any answers to multiple sclerosis. So Jay Dallowell, he is the gentleman behind this technology, a very clever man, and really I want you all to have an open mind, because I know that Dougie and Leroy have seen for themselves what can happen with the technology I'm just about to explain to you. And what I'm going to explain to you seems quite unbelievable, but it really happens, and it's a way that we can help our bodies heal itself. You know, Hippocrates said, "Let thy body heal thyself." And all those years and years ago, hundreds of years ago, they knew then that the body had the capability of healing itself. What the problem is today, we're not letting our body healing itself. We are living in a toxic environment. The water we drink is not pure. The food that we eat is contaminated. The air that we breathe is contaminated. So the body is in a constant struggle to look after itself and keep us in optimum health, but it's failing to do that. And no drugs, no prescription drugs cure any disease whatsoever. What they do, they control the symptoms of disease. They don't look at the underlying issue as to the causes of disease. And nature has the answer, but we just don't know it yet. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So I want to talk to you tonight about this amazing technology. It's called HPT technology. It's produced by a company called Vox, VOXX. And if you want to look on YouTube and type in Vox Life, VOXX Life, you will see literally hundreds of testimonials for this technology. Now, I'm not saying that we cure anything either. We're not allowed to make any claims, of course. But believe what you see, not what people tell you, because people, unfortunately, lead us in the wrong direction, and that's why we're in the state that we're in today. So, over 45 years ago, the research had already started in this neurological field of expertise, looking at how the brain functions and how the brain, through the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system, helps control the information to our body to send signals back and forth through our nervous system. And what has happened is that Vox have developed this technology, and what I'm going to say is this. Different receptors in the peripheral nervous system do have an integrative relationship between themselves and do coordinate with specific nervous stimulation. And what we're talking about, believe it or not, is a pattern that's woven into a sock or an insole or a patch. And that pattern creates a stimulation, a vibrational message that is transmitted through the peripheral and central nervous system to the brain stem. The brain stem is the center of the brain. It's the first thing that is formed in a fetus, and then everything else it grows from that. And by stimulating these specific receptors, we can send signals through the general somatic and visceral afferent pathways to the brain stem. And this triggers a sequence of signals which can help the brain stem achieve homeostasis. What do I mean by homeostasis? Homeostasis is balance in the brain. And when your body's healthy, everything's in balance. When you're unhealthy, things are not in balance. And so that's a very important thing to remember. It's all about balance. Now, if I could tell you that this technology, on average, and these are independent test results, on average can increase the stability and the balance in everyone by an average of 31%, you would be amazed. Because to be able to do that, you imagine everybody knows somebody who's getting a bit wonky on their legs now. And, you know, many people, unfortunately, as they get older, they lose their ability to balance properly, they fall over, they break their hip, and unfortunately, the consequences of doing that are pretty dire, unfortunately. We can also increase your strength by an average of 22%, your force of energy by an average of 15%. Everything works better when your brain and your body are in balance. Now, when we look at disease conditions, and tonight, this is not any medical advice that I'm giving anybody. This is just a general appraisal of this technology which has not been seen before. When I say not been seen before, it's not been seen in the UK. It has been on sale for the last 3 years in America and in Canada, and over 4 million pairs of these amazing socks have already been sold. So Dougie and Leroy have been involved at the very, very start of this wonderful technology, helping to introduce this into the UK population, and many, many people are already benefiting from it. We must also appreciate that our nutrition is very important as well, and unfortunately the foods that we're buying in the supermarkets today have lost their mineral content, in some cases over 80% of their mineral loss, and your body, of course, is 80% water approximately and 20% minerals. So we need the minerals, and we're not getting them in our food. We need to hydrate our bodies with clean water, and we need lots of it. Water has many, many functions in the body. But what we've got here, if we look after what we put in our mouths, and we complement everything using this technology, the results, as I've said, have been absolutely remarkable. And I can't refer to any specific disease, but many, many people have been helped by this technology. Sorry, you were going to say, Dougie?
Yeah, I just want to jump in here, Brother Phil, is that because what we be clear, we're talking about look at things from a holistic approach, because I mean, yes, the product is very powerful, but if you're still eating whopper junk and doing some crazy things, you're not benefiting your body at all. So I'm not saying just turn to a freak, but at least start to drinking, more water, more clean water, and and eating, just and exercising and eating more fruits and veg, and start prolong your life. Because I mean, one of the things, as Phil made it quite clear, that we do have a system who is against us. In fact, Phil will agree with me that at least 80% of the stuff we're taking is poison. That's a fact. A lot of stuff we're taking is poison. And in fact, if I go around and poison a particular individual, a particular family, right, literally poison them, and I'm found guilty, right, I'll be locked up for a long time. You have a system going around and poisoning people and getting away with it. I'm not making this up. That's a fact.
No.
As a fact.
I can tell you, Dougie, Professor Peter Goetsch, who everybody can look him up on YouTube. That name is spelled Gotchze, Goetsch. Peter Goetsch, Professor Peter Emeritus Peter Goetsch, was the head of the Cochrane collaboration. The Cochrane collaboration is the biggest independent institution which have over 30,000 doctors and scientists report drug safety issues to them. And so it's well established and well known by the medical community. Now, Peter, obviously, was top man, and he could see more than anybody else on the face of this planet what was happening. And so he wrote a book about 3 years ago now, which has led him to be sacked from his position. And this is a very, very clever man. And the title of his book was called Deadly Medicines and Organized Crime. And hundreds of thousands of people every year are killed by prescription drugs. And the reason is this, very simply, the reaction, when you mix two chemicals together, you get a chemical reaction. And when you get a chemical reaction, you get a byproduct produced. And what happens, no doctor, no scientist on the face of this planet can tell you the interaction in between any two drugs, let alone 3 drugs, 4 drugs, 5 drugs, 10 drugs. They do not know, because no tests are carried out on that.
Right.
They have to keep increasing the number of drugs that you take in order to offset the problems that the drugs that they're giving you in the first place create. So we've really got to wake up to this and understand that the business today is not about your health
Is this true?
anymore.
Very true. It's very true.
It's about money. They don't care about your health. They care about money. And all of these pharmaceutical companies, they all have shareholders, and the duty of a limited corporation is to produce profit for their shareholders. And if everybody was well and everybody had the knowledge and access to technologies like this, then they wouldn't make any money. They wouldn't be in business. So it doesn't take much to realize that there's a game going on, and it's a very serious game, and it's a game that concerns our health and the health of our children and families. And quite frankly, we have to have a different approach. And take control of your own health. Educate yourselves and take control of your own health.
But go on. Sorry, Phil. Go on.
That's right. If you put your health in the hands of the system, the likelihood is you will become a statistic.
Right.
Now, I'm just to finish there. My wife works in the NHS. The people that work in the NHS are generally very dedicated people who work very, very hard under a lot of pressure and a lot of difficult circumstances. So I'm not having a go at them at all. It's the system that we're in. And again, it doesn't take much to understand that you're not going to see any of these figures about people dying through prescription health in the media, because the media is controlled by the system.
That's right.
And that's another thing we have to wake up and realize.
But Phil, I just want to jump in here because you know what made me have to laugh at this one here, because talking about cancer research, and people can put money for cancer research, and everywhere I go, cancer research. But hold on, they've been talking things for the last 10, 15 years, probably even longer than that.
Yes.
Now then, imagine this now, right? If I'm a football coach or football manager, right? So manager of England or Arsenal or Man United, right?
Yeah.
If I don't get results, right? There's no sentiment about it. You're going to sack me.
Yes.
You know? So if people, how can these people haven't been sacked, or you see what I'm saying? How can they got results? And what made me laugh as well, they said they're getting closer to the to results. Every time I see it. So people need to be aware that it's a hustle and it's a business. And it took me a little while to understand this thing here, you know. It took me a little while, you know. I remember I was reading a sign about 7, 8 years ago, and I said, they said this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you know. So we need to understand all this is a hustle, and I'm not trying to judge anybody, but we need to wake up. We've been hustled.
Yes, you're absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. We are, and we're being lied to. And when you see every night, night after night after night on the television, please give us £3 a month for cancer. Please give us £3 a month for water for children. Please give us £3 a month for this or that or everything else. We give £1.5 billion a month away to other countries, and that money does not go to help anybody really, because I've travelled the whole world many times and nothing's changed. I'm over 70 now, and I've been to places where poverty is absolutely rife, and I go back to these places and nothing's changed. The poor are still poor. The children are still hungry. The children are still drinking water. It is absolutely a crazy system that we've all been sucked into. People say to me, well, hang on a minute, Phil, you can't be right, because there are all these people that go to try and discover the cure for cancer. They go to their laboratories and they do all this work. I mean, but nothing seems to be happening. Where's the money going?
Yes.
The problem is very simply that all these researchers are again, good people, but they've been looking at the genetics behind cancer. I can tell you categorically, cancer is a modern-day disease caused by toxins, malnutrition, no exercise, sitting in front of a computer all day long, and on it goes. So, we need fresh air, exercise, as you said, and but the body was designed to move. There are so many people now in sedentary jobs that sit behind a desk all day, go home, feel absolutely whacked, put the television on, and then get all of this rubbish on television, which does nobody any good.
Any
and
good
gives
at
us
all,
a
yeah.
lot of misinformation, quite frankly. Sorry to be so
Toxins of the
passionate
brain.
about this,
Yeah.
but I am.
Yeah, I can see that. Go on, Leroy, you want to ask a question, Leroy?
Yeah.
And then Tracy can ask a question. Go on, Leroy.
Yeah, no, I was just agreeing with Phil. Great to have you on, Phil.
Thank you, Leroy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's literally it's a well-designed system that's phenomenal. You know, it's so well tuned, and literally, I think like Dougie was saying, people are waking up to it. But for the most majority, because if somebody gives them a diagnosis and they're wearing a white jacket, that's it. They feel, well, that's it. If they've told me that, then that must be the case. And, we know it's such a well-run business. I've been looking at this for many years, especially with this, it's a whole series about the truth about cancer and Dr. Biskensi, I think that's the name. And
Brzezinski. Dr.
Brzezinski, yeah. And he was fascinating with me. I actually spoke earlier, Phil, about what got me into wellness was when my cousin got diagnosed with breast cancer many years ago. And I started to research, and I found so many different ways people were like successfully treating tumors and things I never heard before. But the mainstream was, like Dougie was saying, George trying to raise money to find a cure, and I'm like, hey guys, there's many cultures that are living cancer free like for many years, and we have totally been hoodwinked, unfortunately, and it needs to stop, but it won't stop because of so much money involved, and anything to change that status quo obviously is not going to happen.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
One of my areas which I've written about extensively is the human endocannabinoid system. And the endocannabinoid system is a system, it's the largest system in your body, and it's connected to the nervous system. And it's a series of receptors throughout the nervous system, but particularly in the gut and in the brain. And what it does, it has two receptors known as CB1 and CB2, and these receptors attach themselves to, or the cannabinoids from the hemp or the cannabis plant attach themselves to the receptors, and those in turn will actually lock on to a tumor and kill the tumor without any side effects.
Wow.
So this is something which has been known for many, many years, and really not given. This information is not given to the public, and the medical community do not know anything really. Not very many don't know anything about the importance of the cannabinoid system in the human body, and it's outrageous being the biggest system in the body. Outrageous.
Phil, just Tracy can ask a question, yeah? Go on, Trace.
Phil, I think he just touched on it actually. He was talking about the balance and about the nervous system and how that affects the brain and what it can do for us.
Yes.
And, you said you're an international speaker. I've got to meet you
Yes.
because that's one of my goals, to become an international inspirational speaker. So when can we meet, Phil?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure we will one day soon. I have a feeling that we will. But yes, I think the thing is that again, it's quite difficult to get on these circuits because again they're all controlled by the medical community.
Yeah.
As a non-medic, it was very difficult for me to do that. But I do a lot of corporate work, and through my corporate work, that's led on to other things. And I've spoken at the world's largest medical conference, which is the A4M series of conferences, which is a global operation. I've spoken at the Stromboli conference in Italy, which is a very prestigious conference, and I've spoken at the British Medical Association, the BMA, to over 1,000 doctors there. And that was quite interesting, actually, because that was about nutrition. So, doctors are becoming aware of the importance of nutrition, but they're not taught about it when they do their, degree to get their PhD. It doesn't come up, quite frankly, because, and I know that one professor I was talking to, who lectures on particular medicines, protocols, he said, well, Phil, he said, people people want the answer in a pill. They want a pill. They're not interested in nutrition. Now, to a point, that he's right. People want a pill for everything. But
quick fix.
That's because we've been programmed to think that.
Right.
That's the
Because of the
problem.
unknown, isn't it, Phil? The unknown. I mean, my father, he had a stroke. His mother, my gran, she had a stroke too, and that's the way they both died. And my mum had cancer, and that's the way she died. But, you know, I was administrating some medicine along with some other family, but I had to give her some morphine, and I was faced with the same question and thinking the same way as everybody else. What can I do? I don't want to give my mum morphine, but I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to use, and it's a scary moment when you're there and it's facing you right in your, when you're there and it's all in your face. You know, what do you do?
Well, yeah, it is. It's very, very difficult when you are given a death sentence. And the way that cancer diagnoses are delivered is a death sentence. So immediately an oncologist or a doctor tells you that you've got cancer. There's no emotion involved. You've got it, and you have no alternative. And under the 1939 Cancer Act, which a lot of people have never heard of, but if a doctor prescribes any treatment for cancer other than chemotherapy, radiation or surgery, guess what? He can lose his license and go to prison. And that's how they control the information. So I said something earlier on, and I really, really mean this. You know, we have an opportunity now, which we've never had before, and you need to use this opportunity to do your own research, and that is the internet, because obviously there's a lot of misinformation on the internet, but there's a lot of good information on the internet, and you've got to figure out, you know, what's good and what's not. But really and truly, the opportunity is to try and educate yourself as best you can and understand that the body is holistic. Everything works with everything else in your body. So you know, it's crazy when you have a cardiovascular expert, you have a brain expert, you have, you know, an expert for all these different areas, and one can't talk to another one because it's not their field. It's just crazy. So the development of this technology, the Vox technology, is just a brain, you know, to influence the brain to such an extent that it'll allow the body to help to heal itself. It'll improve your energy levels. It will give you more strength, more stamina, more balance. It is phenomenal. And Dr. Robert Thatcher, who is the world's leading neurologist, he's a professor of neurology, has said that this technology is a century ahead of any understanding currently that we have in the neurological field of the brain. It's truly, truly amazing, and I would recommend that all the listeners tonight have a look at Vox, VOOX, don't forget, on YouTube, Vox Life, and look at the people and the success that they've had, or get in touch with Dougie or Leroy and get some information from them, because this can help millions and millions of people all around the world. And in the UK, we now have a great opportunity to help ourselves with a technology that nobody else has got.
Okay, then. Okay, on that note, Phil, we're going to put a pin in it here because you've given us some serious information and in depth what you know when it comes to health. You know, it's really phenomenal. As you said, we've got someone who would like to meet you, you know, and she will meet you in due time. You know what I mean?
Very soon.
Yeah. Have you got like a website or?
Well, the thing is, with what I do, really, Dougie, I actually don't generally deal with the public directly now because I'm just not able to do that.
Yes.
So my focus has been with Vox now,
right.
And it will continue to be that.
Yes.
So although I have many different interests in health, I think that rather, you know, people would come to you, and then you can always get them to drop me an email if they need some help or suggestions. But really and truly, I thank you for the opportunity to speak to your audience tonight. And, all those people that are listening, I just wish you the best of health. Listen to what Leroy has said and Dougie has said and what I said tonight. And just, I don't like to say wake up because we are awake, but we're just being misinformed.
That's right.
Just look at everything twice and don't believe everything you're told. Just believe in what you see. And thank you again, chaps, for a really great opportunity to speak to everybody tonight. And I look forward to seeing you all very shortly.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phil. Take care now. Yep.
Yeah, you too. Bye all.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, then that was Phil
discussions in recent weeks.
on the line there.
And comedian Kate Spade.
Okay.
TVJ's Giovanni Dennis has this report.
Too high. The number of Jamaicans experiencing depression. A recent mental illness and homelessness report commissioned by the Health Ministry revealed that more than 40% of Jamaicans have at some point suffered depression. 264 persons were treated at government hospitals for attempted suicide. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton describes it as a big problem.
It affects more people than we care to admit. There is significant stigma linked to mental illness. There is rejection, there is abandonment, and an unwillingness to deal with the issue frontally. And some ignorance, too, in terms of recognizing the symptoms when those symptoms occur.
That ignorance on how to treat with depression and mental health is also rife in schools. The school-based survey indicates that the number of students experiencing depression is higher than the national average.
It's quite alarming that it speaks to a large percentage of the school population who are affected by depression and some who have thought about suicide. Of course, there are a few that have carried it out, unfortunately. And so that information indicates to us in one certain term that we have to do a lot more to sensitize that age cohort and those who are their guardians.
Dr. Tufton said the ministry will be training and sensitizing teachers, guidance counselors and other school officials to detect and assist students displaying symptoms of depression and mental instability who need specific intervention.
We're going to be introducing significant more messaging through a public relations program, not just for the general population, but in the school system, to educate, to inform, but very importantly, to attempt to destigmatize this perception around mental illness and to hopefully get greater levels of empathy and interest on the part of the population to deal with the problem.
He says the current Jamaica Moves campaign will be upgraded to include mental health messages and launched in schools as a means of combating depression. In the meantime, the ministry says persons who need help or know someone who does can call its mental health unit at 876-633-8259 or contact various regional health authorities. Giovanni Dennis, TVJ News.
Hey, what is up everyone, and welcome to another Carib Fusion video. I guess this will be sort of a different video. Recently, Kaleido, he did an interview on Nightly Fix where he was speaking about his struggles with, with everything kind of just going wrong in his life. And he spoke about committing suicide or taking his life. And, for the most part, online people have been very supportive. They've been saying, just go and hold it, my brother, and things like that. And I wasn't initially going to make this video, but then it just plagued me to do it. So I think it's necessary. One of the things that people kept saying is, go and hold it, my brother, go and hold it. And I thought, what does that statement actually mean, to go and hold it? And obviously, these are well-wishers, and I'm not saying that they're not well-wishers, so please don't get it twisted. But what exactly is it he's supposed to go and hold? The fact that he's dying inside and feel like he needs to take his life, that life is just so difficult for him that the only way out for him is to take his own life, or the thought of taking his own life brings some relief to him. What exactly are we saying? And, that's one of the things that I think that us as a people don't fully understand it. We don't understand what depression is or what it looks like. When I watched that interview, the first thing that came to my mind was he displayed all the signs of someone who is crying out for help. And I really wish that people didn't just take it as a news article and actually saw it for what it is, that someone here is saying to you, things are going really bad in my life. And they're saying, they're attributing it, or him wanting to take his own life because his career is going bad. Believe me, that is just the trigger. The fact that he, was even able to say it, he's probably thought about it so many times. So my question to you who are listening to this, would you know what it looks like if someone in your family has depression or is depressed or is about to take their life? Because especially this time of year, statistics have shown that the biggest killer in men outside of Jamaica is suicide. Yeah, the biggest killer of men is suicide outside of gun crime. So that's something to think about. What is going on within the male population that we don't know about, and especially Jamaican male? I mean, we expect our dancehall artists to be larger than life, but what if they're not coping with life? You know what I'm saying? And, I think a lot of people get suicide mixed up. They think that when a person wants to take their life is because they're weak. The person contemplating suicide doesn't actually want to die. They want the pain to stop. And that's the difference. They don't want to die, but that's the only way that they can see a way out.
Researchers estimate that almost 40% of Jamaicans suffer from personality disorders, a type of mental illness, and that depression and schizophrenia are the most common mental illnesses in Jamaica. Unfortunately, many Jamaicans think that mental illness could never affect them or someone they love.
A lot of young people in Jamaica suffer from depression and don't even know it.
Yeah, we can't take it seriously.
We're taught that it's not something that happens to black people. That's something that happens to Americans. Or the upper class, people who can afford therapy and them stuff there. There's a stigma. Oh, you mean you're crazy? Oh, you mean you're a mad person? Oh, you mean you need some medicine for that?
Sometimes I have to laugh. I think that's probably the saving grace of Jamaican people, because we're still funny. And a lot of the things we have to laugh. We have to laugh. You know what I mean? Because we have to laugh because it's depressing. It really is. I'm not even trying to exaggerate anything. If you're living here, there are literally things that you have to pretend like they're not affecting you in order for you. If you have something that you need to do, if you have to be mentally well to do this thing, you have to pretend all these million other things that are happening don't affect you. Not just your life, but the world, the country and the world in general. You might end up operating like something that's a little bit not human.
What qualifies me to speak? Well, actually, this is my bread and butter. This is what I do for work. This is what I do for study. This is what I volunteer in. I work with people who are at that point in their life. Okay, so when I see this happening, obviously, if I'm on a platform like YouTube, I have to speak about it. It's my duty. So, what I want people to do is, don't bypass this. If someone is saying this, they actually do mean it. And what can you do? Are there people in your family or around you that, are not themselves? Or are we just passing it off and saying, that's how he's always been? Really? We could probably be doing more. And I think this conversation needs to happen now. It's not just white people, middle class people that has depression. And we need to know what it looks like.
Okay then, we are expecting a call from Dr. Kinsu. We'll be touching out about mental health and well-being, and also expecting a call from Cassandra. She's telling 100 people to log in right now. Okay, that should be Kinsu. Kinsu?
Yes. Greetings.
How you been, Kinsu?
Yeah, man. Very good.
Kinsu, you come like a superstar, Everybody I talk about you about.
Stop it.
Okay then. Well, it's PS theaters we have because earlier on we have Phil talking about well-being and health. I know that you've been a champion in that particular area, and also you're the champion when it comes to the whole thing about trauma. You know, childhood. You're the one who kind of broke all that down to me a few weeks ago. So I'll always be in debt in terms of the information you've been sharing with me. Just bear in mind we do have Leroy inside the house, right? And also we do have Tracey, who you've spoken to. So
greetings, everybody.
Greetings, Kenton.
Yes. So kids, we want to go straight in the cheers because I know you have enough information, and as you know, we've been touching a lot of things around mental health and trauma, etc. And what made you focus in that particular area? And this is really benefit for those who probably here for the first time, because this is something we really need to wrestle and tackle. Because if we don't deal with that side of stuff, we're not going nowhere. I mean, that's my opinion or how I see things at this particular moment. So, what made you focus and what made you passionate in this particular area? Yeah.
Well, I make you right. First of all, that's so right because. And it is. I think we need to make people know it is holistic health. You see, there's no separation in none of this. There's no separation in life. There's no separation in nature. There's no separation. It doesn't exist. So it is all holistic. It's all health, and the fact that it influences every part of itself, then it's whole. So it's holistic health. What made me come into it is basically life. You see, and one of the things that I mentioned at the seminar, which I've just had a chance to look at the video, 2 months on. But anyway,
trust me, I've been pestering my man there, but I'm glad to you've got it now.
I couldn't resist that. But anyway, so one of the points is I mentioned the causal body. You see, and this in answer to your question, when I say causal body, there's a part of us. It's referred to as the causal body. Now, this is so poignant for people to understand. That means when people talk about cause and effect, you have a cause within you. The effects that are going on in your life, the incidents, the pain, the pleasures, the good and the bad, the ups and the downs, these are effects. We need to think about this. These are effects. So where's the cause? There's a cause to all the events in your life are in you. You see what we're saying here? The cause to all the effects in our life are in us. So that answer your question is the cause in myself created certain events in my life that aimed to wake me up to certain truths, to wake me up to my own truth. One of the effects that in relation to what you're asking there was a breakdown of a relationship, of a marriage, in fact, okay? So the breakdown of the marriage, which I refer to as a completion, and that's not to, because I'm not dealing with no blame, so I'm not really apportioning blame to any party involved in any of it. I'm just saying it's an event that happened in my life that caused me to look deeper within myself. And that's the whole point about this, is that things happen in our life that cause us to really focus on the necessity of getting to know ourselves. The necessity of getting to know ourselves. You see, I mentioned in the video, when you close your eyes, you realize that you're inside of the body. When we close our eyes, we realize that we're not the body. We realize that we're in the body. You see, so there's a part of us that's getting us to realize, to get to realize that. To start to investigate who we really are and the journey we're on. You see, so sometimes it takes wake-up collisions in life, collisions. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes it takes some big shake-up collisions, like nature will rain down a tsunami that kills 4,000 people, 40,000 people. We can't say nature's bad. We can't say nature's good. Nature just is. Life just is.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying events happen in our life in the same way. But what we do we have been indoctrinated by the morals, a moralistic circus. So what that does, that makes us coin things as good or bad. So when we do that, we start blaming people. Because if I say that's bad and that shouldn't happen to me, then that's his fault or her fault. You see what I'm saying? If I say that's bad, then I'm going to find someone to blame. And that's the problem. It's the hardest thing for us to move past. When you move past that, you come to balance. You start to work your way to mental mastery.
Right.
See, so the balance in life is the key. Mental balance. You see what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
No, I'm just trying to put things into some kind of context now, right? All right. For example, if someone's been through, say, domestic violence and all that kind of stuff, there, right? What you're saying then, because there has to be a certain amount of blame, really, on that particular individual who's posing that kind of violence on that individual, right? So I understand in terms of that. I mean, you can't just blame, because you have to look at yourself as well, right? Because I mean, people just really mirrors, teach something about yourself, right? But in that context, there, how would you look at something like that? Could it go be a certain amount of
accountability?
Yes, that's the proper word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yes, the individual, the perpetrator, has to be accountable to their actions, most definitely.
Yes.
Right? Now, because everybody's responsible for their actions. But at the same time, what we're calling the victim, very dangerous word, very, very dangerous word. When we're calling the victim, also has to be responsible, doesn't she or he?
Right. Has to be responsible.
Yeah, you see, that's a struggle, because what?
Yeah.
Because there's a saying, says, don't blame them, blame yourself for being there.
I understand that.
You see? So what I'm saying is that, but you see, we can go past all this, because that's difficult when you look at it that way.
Yeah.
That takes time. But on a basic level, I could say this. Is creation and God, some people say God, some people say nature, some people say creation, whatever, or the source, or the ultimate intelligence, is that not precise? Do they make any mistakes? Does the creator or the ultimate intelligence or the source or God, do they make any mistakes? Whatever name you want to use? Are there any mistakes in God?
Well,
are there any mistakes?
I would say so.
Sorry?
I would say so.
What, you say God make mistakes?
Well, all right then. If we look at the no, I would say no then. In the context what you're talking about, I would say no.
Well,
I would say
because how can the creation of every single thing make a mistake?
No, I would say I would say no. I would say no.
It can't be a mistake. You see, there's no way that the ultimate creator, we've got different names for it, and that sometimes gets a bit confusing. But the ultimate source of creation, there can't be a mistake. Everything that happens has to be precise within that. You only got to look at the solar system, and you see, that's another part of it.
Right.
We're detached from nature.
Right.
See, we don't understand the intricacies of nature.
Yes.
When you meditate and do things, there's certain things you can do will blow your mind. Will blow your mind. If you just get into the understanding of the 4 elements in you, from your head to your toe, you have earth. From your head to your toe, you have water. From your head to your toe, you have air. From your head to your toe, you have fire, warmth, heat. And then all around you and inside of you, you have space. So what's different to you and the planet?
It's all one, yeah?
Right. So I'm saying, but we're not in touch with that, because that's a phenomenal that should make us pray. Every step we take, we should be bowing down. Every step. It's not about saying grace before the plate of food. It's about saying grace before every spoon of food. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But because we're not into that, because we're not on that frequency, we don't understand nature, and therefore we don't understand the precision So we battle with the, the fact that it cannot have mistakes. You see, we don't understand the intricacy of nature. So we find mistakes and we find blames and we don't, we start finding errors in our life as if it's not precise.
Right. But I just want to bring it back to the reasoning when we talk about someone's been in an abuse, right?
Yeah. Okay. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
So there has to be a certain amount of
story.
accountability or blame, because if someone, for whatever reason, right, is being very abusive to their partner, you know what I mean?
All right, Dougie.
Right.
I get you. Let
Yeah.
me share this story. Let me
Yeah.
share this story. It's not going to take long, but let me share this story here, right?
Go on.
This is going to answer it for you. Now, there was back in the day, a few years back, when I was learning about this right and wrong business. I was all submerged in books, and I thought I knew it all, and all of that. The ego and all of that, right? So now I'm talking to this sister, right? It was a former partner of mine at the time. Now, she, we were reasoning about right and wrong, and I'm bigging up myself like I know this and that. So anyway, in the middle of the conversation, she said to me, what about that man that troubled me? Right? Now that means she told me, she had mentioned before that someone troubled her, like what you're saying here. She said that somebody had troubled her when she was young, but we never ever got into that conversation.
Yes.
Yeah? Now, while we're having this conversation about right and wrong, she threw it into the middle. Now, my ego just froze. I just stopped. I was like, whoa, I can't go there. Yeah? So I just stopped and I back out the conversation and I said, okay, we just changed the conversation and we got on with our day peacefully, in harmony. Now, listen to this now. About 2 years later, the conversation came up again, right? About right and wrong, okay? Now, the sister said to me at the time, before I could even say anything, you know what she said to me? She said to me, I get it now. I get it. There is no right and wrong. Even that man that troubled me, there was a lesson in there for me to learn.
But I agree with that. I do agree. There is a lesson to it.
Now, she has a lot. I've reasoned with her in the last year, and we've reasoned on it, and I've explained to her she contributed greatly to my understanding of this whole thing, because both sides of that conversation knocked me for six. But it's rooted in my understanding of morals.
All right, let me just we do have Sister Trace inside there. Tracy, feel free to jump in, please. Yeah, when you talk about and Leroy could jump in as well, right? But what was the lesson she get to learn from that experience there?
But no, we didn't go into that.
Oh, you didn't go into that. All right, I beg your pardon. All right, Tracy, you want to come in, please?
Oh, yeah, we've been talking about domestic violence, Kensu. Yeah, and you've been talking about domestic violence. You were speaking about it, and you were saying it's about the person who is, well, like you said, a dangerous word, victim, or because that word is a big word. But I do feel it's around mental health and mental illness at the time. So the person who is in it, not the perpetrator, but also the perpetrator has a lot of problems themselves. Yes, of course. But the person that is receiving I would like to say I'm a survivor of it. I was surviving what I went through because I went through it myself. And at the time, I didn't know any better. Because, of course, somebody shouldn't be hitting you and, that shouldn't be the story. Or when they're putting you down, you shouldn't stay with them and all the rest of it. But over time, mentally, it takes a toll on you. And you don't realise at the time. I'm a completely different person to what I was. And I was brought up with being told, if anyone puts their hand on you, make sure you beat them back or I'll be beating you. That was my mother's words. That's what she used to say. And that's how I lived. I used to ramp with my brothers, my older brothers. Nobody could harm me. But when it's happening to myself, like I said, I wasn't conscious of it. That was the problem. So I couldn't help myself. I didn't know. I used to pray every day, same way I pray now, but until one day I said to myself, what's happening? Why am I not being helped here? What's going on? And then I realised it was because I wasn't helping myself first.
Right. But Trace, am I right to say that you didn't love yourself enough, or less is worse that
yeah, I did. I always loved myself like I do now, but I wasn't conscious. Of what was going on in the situation I was in. I wasn't conscious of it, so I thought, I loved him because this is past tense. We're talking here. I'm happily divorced from that man, and what happened then happened. I don't hold it against him because I don't want to hold any hate inside of me. I haven't got time for that. That's not going to get us anywhere. But I'm not with him now. That's the very important message.
Yeah, the important message. Oh, Leroy, you want to?
And it sounds like, Tracy, you've learned a lot from that experience.
Right.
Yeah, wholly.
Right.
That's right. I did.
Right.
Yes.
Because,
you see, yes. You see what I'm saying? So I just say, I'm not trying to basically condone any actions and the pain and so forth that one is going through at the time. That has to be addressed.
Yeah.
But there's always more to it, and we're hearing that here now.
Yeah, there is.
But am I right in saying, Kinzu, that we're talking about domestic violence and abuse, etc., that people's really a mirror to teach you something about yourself? I mean, for example, right? For example, if someone's in an abusive relationship and they leave that abusive relationship and go to another abusive relationship, it's nothing to do with that individual. It's something about yourself. It's something you're lacking, the lack of love, or it's something, you're lacking. And then people are really teaching a mirror about yourself.
Well, for me, you see, I thought, I loved him. I was in love with him. And I don't want to fight him because if we're two people that's supposed to love each other, then I have to teach him how to love, So that's messed up in itself.
Yeah.
Of course, I should have left the moment he put his hand on me the first time I was 5 months pregnant. I should have gone, but I was gobsmacked. I stood there and we went into a friend's house straight after like it didn't happen. And, from the first time, it just went on from there. He would say sorry, and then he would cry a bit sometimes, and then, I want to quickly solve what's going on, so then I just move on quickly and, want it to be better. You always want it to be better in a relationship. You're looking for something that's never going to happen sometimes. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to be going through domestic violence for that to be going on either.
Right. Leroy, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, just, on that level because...
Kinsu, you still there, Kinsu?
Yeah.
All right, Leroy's going to jump in.
Yeah,
man.
Just as we're kind of going down this route or exploring this route there, because a lot of times, whether it starts from somebody who's a school bully, because something in their life, like or people that go off these rampages, and I maybe open up a big can of worms here, but as we're seeing on the TV and stuff like that, where you identify these young males that are going out and they might be going into classrooms and shooting up the whole classroom or something like that, and then you identify their past or something in them that is they've got a real issue, maybe mentally they were excluded, something happened to them, and then as a result of that, because they either didn't feel like they were loved, they were going to make sure that everybody else were going to feel the wrath of, it could stem from something which we might look at as insignificant, but then they try and then they, get into a relationship now, and things start to get amplified, because of them not being able to actually know how to deal with somebody else in a normal manner, and the only way they can inflict anything is what they got inflicted. Not to say that always is the case, because there's many people that don't have to be perpetrators of how they got treated, but a lot of the times you see that link as to how did they grow up, what happened in their childhood, which made them that way.
And they haven't been able to deal with it, and that's something what Kenzie was talking about.
And this is what Kenzie was talking about.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's always in it, and that's, you see, the relationship is the human magnet syndrome, I call it. You see, and that's what you're bonded to as a child. That's what you're going to attract.
Right,
And that's simple as that. What Leroy said is this point is exact. Look, when I was a bully in school because I was bullied at home. My dad bullied me. When you think this beating with belt, what we normalize, that's a bully. You're bully. Beating any parent beating a child is bullying. Straight cut. So we don't want to hear that because us black people we get beaten all the time. It's bullying. It's abuse. It's traumatic. So when you see that in the street, what we're doing, we're just imitating exactly what Leroy said. We're just imitating what the conditioning that we got in the house.
Scene.
And then from the bullying in the classroom, we go and bully out in our relationship.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You see, but the human magnet syndrome, we do attract. You don't attract what you want in life. You attract what you are.
Oh, say that again. Say that again.
You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are.
Yeah.
So with the conditioning from childhood, that's what you're going to attract. Is a deep spiritual. Listen, you being somewhere like Notting Carnival, for example, right? Now, you being there and you I use the word chirps. You chirps the girl or man, or let's say the girl, the exact girl that matches out of the millions of people in there, which matches your childhood. You just bond to her, just like that. You see what I'm saying? That's how precise this thing is. You'll attract to her because of what you are.
What you are.
You'll come together, and then 6 months, 2 years, whatever down the line, you realize that whoa. This is just a trauma relationship. Yeah, it happens every time. It's precise. That's what I'm saying. The thing is so precise. So the way to get over it is to deal with yourself. You have to bring yourself to the point of the person you want to attract. You have to be the person you want.
You have to be
see what I'm saying? You have to be that female or male version in your own. You're still going to be yourself. I'm not saying, you got to be like someone else. But you got to be that quality what you want to attract. That's how you deal with these issues. So even when you go and you speak to, when you're going to psychotherapy, and so that's what, a true therapist would address yourself. Is like what like Tracey's saying is like, instead of hating and attack on the perpetrator, let me change and deal with myself, the issues that attracted me, that took me into that position in the first place.
Realization.
It's precise. It's so very precise. And this is why I'm going on about it, because the black people, this is where we're losing this. We're losing the fight because it's the pain of facing, or the ability to face these pain. And pain is a natural emotion. It's a natural emotion. We've got to learn to embrace it, because that's where our solution is. When you face your pain, and this is what happens, like Tracey, what you're mentioning there, you stay there, we stay there until you sink deeper into the pain. And in the depth of the pain, you will find the wisdom. You'll find the power. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes it takes time.
It can sometimes. And some people stay in it and they never get out of it. But that's why I wrote a memoir. That's why I wrote a memoir, and I soon to release that because I want to help people to get out of it. I got out of it; they can get out of it too.
So, Kintu, the question will be: how would you advise someone who's going through something like that, like being abused and so forth? I mean, who are listening right now, and because you talked about you've been in that kind of pain, and that's where the wisdom is. But I just want to get something on this now.
Well, it's and it's the same as most issues. They're going to have to reflect on themselves, you see, and like what Tracey mentioned, if you're there, it's difficult when you're there. You're so magnetized to it all because you're looking for the good in the person. You're holding on to that. So the reason why you're holding on to that is because of something missing in you. You see, so you got to find that. Look at that and find the root of that and start to confront. When you confront things, the worst thing, the mind doesn't like to be watched. The spirit, it doesn't like to be watched. So once you confront it and start to look at it and be aware of it every time it comes up, it will start to wither and wither. But the point is, we're not looking at it. We're ignoring it, and we're looking everywhere else. You see.
Yeah.
So anybody in that situation, it's really about, really therapy. Seek therapy. So if I mean, sometimes I understand it's a challenge to even make that move. Maybe they need to speak to someone else first. But it's about really opening up. The more you close in on yourself, is the worse it's going to get. So it's about opening up as little as you can. Every little counts. Speaking to people until eventually, you can speak and go into some form of therapy. But definitely therapy is required because the individual needs to grow themselves.
Yes.
They need to grow themselves.
Yeah, from you said that, you're absolutely right. Anyway, Kinsu, I'm just conscious of time, and you've really opened up some reasoning, some deep reason. Our brain cells start feeling widen up a little bit, yes, so, you know what I mean?
Personal development.
To stretch. So, Kinsu, I wonder if you can give out your website and some information where people can contact you. And again, we really is a pleasure to have you on the line with us, Kinsu.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure every time. You know that. My number is 07983 678 199.
Repeat again, Kinsu, please.
Sorry. Okay. 07983 678 199. Yeah. I mean, I haven't. I will be. I should say that I'm a certified psychotherapist now, as well as the holistic nutrition. So we're bringing that together under some true holistic. We're working on some modules, various different modules. I'll just give you a quick synopsis of certain modules. Like there's modules which can help a person come out of age regression, trance phenomena, because a lot of this is to do with trance. We go into trance. Sometimes we're into 20-year trance, 30-year trance. Yeah. So trance phenomenon, age regression. Also, we're looking at eco-counseling. So some of the modules that we're putting together to really help people out of, to get to know themselves, because, like I said, you close your eyes, you realize that you're not the body. And that's important because it's the body and the mind that's causing all of these issues. Attachment to body and mind. All right? So the website is naturallyholistic.net. There's not much on it at the moment. We're kind of building it yet. Naturallyholistic.net. You can go on there, register. You can download the ebook and leave your details. And like I said, the number is 07983678199.
Okay then. Kinsu, give thanks again, yeah?
Yeah, man, no problem. Pleasure.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
People, Tracy, take care.
Blessings.
All right, Leroy, blessings.
Thanks.
Okay then. Give thanks, Kinsu.
Yeah, man.
Mind and skin, and her spirit deep within. That's my Ereline, childhood sweetheart and darling. So when I had to leave, I was sorely grieved as I held her hands that night on the stars and full moonlight. Although I was just a child, I felt like a man inside. I touched her intimately, enthralled by her beauty, knowing I'd soon be missing our touching, cuddling, and kissing. Although we were just children, we knew we were more than just friends, and that loving feeling would never end. Now all I'm left with is the loving memory and scent of her presence, now absent.
Hello, it's Cassandra here. Yeah, I'm good, thanks, yeah.
Okay then, fantastic. What's gonna happen there? Because if you just hold tight, because someone's gonna do a poem, right? And then we'll probably have to move. So, have you got? Sorry, Tracy, you got the poem ready for us?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Well, so just hold tight.
One thing I was going to ask, just very briefly, I've got the radio on live on YouTube. Should I switch it off? Is it going to interfere if I have it on or not?
It probably will do. Just turn it down,
Turn it down. Okay, 0 sound. Okay.
Yeah, right? Yeah, okay then.
Okay.
Just work. All right, do your poem now, Trace, please.
Right, this should link up to what we've all been talking about. Hope and pray. And it's titled, Asking You and I. Who am I? Who are you? Who have we become to be? What do you want? What do you desire? How do you be happy? Think about it. Think about yourself. Are you satisfied? Are you content? Why are we here? Why are we to do? Is it enough? Should we want to dare? Dare to think of what we want. Dare to give it a go. Saying yes, it can be harder. Saying no can be easier. But I'm not asking anything we don't already know. It's a matter of acting on our ideas. Some will be completed, some will fall to the wayside. Surely it's better to try. Surely it's a must, rather than never knowing and being lost in the unknown. I am worth it. You are worth it. There's more to come from me and you. I help myself to keep achieving. You help yourself to keep achieving. We can help each other. We have the will to, using our physical and spiritual, we can live our lives to our full potential, the Most High.
All right, give thanks. That's
thank
actually
you.
beautiful, 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 beautiful.
Pray. And when we entered our home in Hackney, there were no maids to my dismay. I recall back home they said, go off far and wide, England Street paved with gold. For there your future is sunny and bright, though the winters are dark and cold. I may have been young and inexperienced, and yet I knew the other half had not been told. I repeat, I may have been young and inexperienced.
Yeah, hi, hello.
You good?
I'm good, thanks, yeah.
Okay then, well, it's good to have you on the line with us, you know.
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me for a second time.
You are a star, you know.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
There are many stars out there, not just me. There's a lot of people doing a lot of good and trying to raise people's awareness to what's really going on in the world, you know?
Okay then. I wonder if you can let people know exactly what you're about and the kind of work you do, because I met you at Hyde Park. I met you at Hyde Park.
Speaker's Corner, yeah.
Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner. I was very impressed with the kind of work you do. So let people, who probably never heard of it, let people know exactly what you're about and what you do.
Right. Well, in my spare time, I raise awareness into... I tend to focus on what's called geoengineering. Geoengineering is the manipulation of our weather, the control of our weather. And there are many people out there think, we can't do this, but we can. It's been a long time in the planning, and it's been going on for decades, believe you me. I've even got a book, a little book here I have with me, because people don't always believe what they read online, and there's a lot of CGI now, and things can be manipulated. But I have a little book here called Weather and Climate Modification, Problems and Progress, and it's dated, well, the preface is dated 1973, so it's nearly 50 years ago. And they're talking about the problems that they were having 50 years ago and how far they had advanced. And already in the book, they talk about the ability to steer hurricanes. Now, and they mention in the book how, you know, it could be really useful to steer a hurricane away from an area of high population. What happens if the agenda is the exact opposite, to steer it into an area of high population? So this is where weather is weaponized now. So this is one of the things I'm involved in. It's a multifaceted agenda which includes lots of different aspects, but I have focused on the weather. There's lots of things going on. There's a huge amount, and something I do want to talk about tonight that is very, very, very important. That's something called 5G, which is being rolled out across the country. London apparently now has it, which means that people will be able to download their Netflix much quicker now. But it's coming at a price,
Right.
and the price is your health.
Right. So let me jump in here. When you talk about control of the weather, I mean people be listening and wondering what the heck Dougie's talking about, brother Dougie. He's always having this conspiracy theory and this and that, and what is he on? Is he drunk? Is he a mad person, or is he all right? I mean, and people are probably thinking like that now as we're speaking, right?
It's the most far-fetched thing. We can't control the weather.
Yeah.
But we can. Well, they can. I can't. I wouldn't know how to do it. There is a book I've actually, if anybody's interested, yes, it costs £12-13. It's a book that's actually came out a few years ago by Eleanor Freeland. Eleanor, E-L-A-N-A, Eleanor Freeland. And the title is Chemtrails, HAARP, and the Full Spectrum Dominance of Planet Earth. I'll read that again. It's Chemtrails, HAARP, and the Full Spectrum Dominance of Planet Earth. Now, for anyone that wants to know what they're up to, this book outlines it. She has done so much research, it's unbelievable. A friend of mine loaned me their copy, and I was so impressed. I've gone out and bought my own. She talks about how they manipulate the weather and how this has been years in the planning. This isn't something that suddenly happened. And something else I need to touch upon, you do mention on the show a lot about mental health.
Yeah.
Mental health, depression is such a big problem. Now, in my work, I deliver leaflets and stuff, and yesterday I was in a place and saw a newspaper sticking out of an American-style letterbox. Couldn't help but notice on the front page of The Guardian, talking about air pollution. They keep talking about air pollution. And in the article it said air pollution can give rise to asthma, dementia, and what's it on? Oh, cancer, right? And also it's the cause of many, many, many mental health disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, personality disorders. This is all coming from the sky. This is all coming from the chemtrails that are sprayed day in, day out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out.
Right. But let me just jump in here because, again, people might be hearing about chemtrails for the very first time. What is chemtrails?
Right. Well, a chemtrail is a chemical trail.
Okay.
That's it. Simply, the white stuff. Most people don't really look at the sky much. They might notice it, they might glance up, but they're mostly on their phones, a lot of people. They're not looking up, per se, they're looking down a lot. But if you look at the sky with fresh eyes and notice that there may be what's called normal-looking clouds. The thing is, today's younger generation, sort of 25 and younger, haven't actually seen normal skies. They've grown up with this fake skies we have. So they don't know what it was like 50-odd years ago when we had normal clouds. But if you look up and you just look at the sky, you will see quite often planes that are spraying across the sky.
Yeah, you see that. Yeah, you do.
The lines that come out.
Yeah.
Those are chemical trails. They are absolutely, there's not water vapor or anything like that. They're chemical trails, and they spread across the sky. Even on a blue sky day, if you look, you'll see kind of a haze. This is kind of a milky haze in the sky. Those are nanoparticulates. Nano is so small, I can't say how small it is, but they're nanoparticulates of some hideous substances, including aluminium oxide, barium, strontium, cadmium. There's other stuff as well that are being sprayed upon the unsuspecting public. They're not talking about this. This is top secret. They've been spraying us like bugs for years. And it's now, particularly now that the cancer's gone up, they cannot open enough dementia care homes. The biggest killer,
okay then. Yeah.
the biggest killer in this country is dementia and Alzheimer's. That direct correlation between aluminium and dementia and memory loss coming from the planes.
But you see, again, people might be listening and say, well, this is quite heavy stuff. But what I'm saying to people is this: do your research. You know? Please do your research, right? And if I've misrepresented information, or Cassandra, we stand to be corrected. But please do your research, because I was saying earlier on, I don't hear me saying this, that 80% of the stuff we're taking, we're talking about food and all that stuff there, is poison. It's literally poison, right? And if I go around and poison a group of family or even individual for no reason at all, just want to poison them, right? If I'm found guilty, I should be locked up for a very long time. You're having a system who's going around and poisoning and killing people and getting away with it. And because we're ignorant to certain facts and information. Right? So we need to be clear, right? Because we're not putting out no propaganda. We're not trying to, we make it quite clear, do your research. Cassandra made it quite clear, the stuff what they're spraying, right? We're talking about the chemtrails, right? A lot of this aluminium was poison and it's causing Alzheimer's, dementia, and so forth, right? Again, we're saying to people, do your research, right?
There's a film it's a documentary on YouTube that we recommend people, well, when I'm at Speaker's Corner, recommend they watch. It's called, there's two. There's one called What in the World Are They Spraying, where you'll learn what they're spraying. And then the other one is called Why in the World Are They Spraying. Now, they're quite long. They're well over an hour long, each of them.
These are films, documentary films, yeah?
They're documentary, they're on YouTube, and they can be shared. The guy that made it, whose name I can't bloody remember, because my memory's not great either, and that's despite all the stuff I take. His name will come to me. Dane Whittington, sorry, that's his name. He's quite happy for people to show it there's no restrictions on sharing it and showing it in public. He wants the word out there.
Okay, then.
If people haven't got time to watch both films, and we're all busy people, watch the second one, Why in the World Are They Spraying, because you'll find out what within the why.
Okay.
So it's very, very informative. Yes, it will blow your mind to realize this is what's been happening. It's a proper documentary with proper qualified people talking from, various parts of the globe about various aspects of this. And it's understandable, and it certainly is mind-blowing. And hopefully from there, people will go on and do their own research.
Yes.
It's very important, like you said before, that you don't take what I say as gospel. Just go out there and do your own research, but dig deep.
Yes.
Because YouTube and the powers that be don't want people finding out the truth. The cat is out of the bag now. They've been trying to keep a lid on this forever. And the cat's out of the bag. There's an awful lot of people now who are actually aware of what's going on along many facets, not just this one. There's other facets as well. And it's important that people dig deep. Even Google, bloody Google, the controlled Google, chemtrails is still not a word that's recognized. If you type in, if you're typing an email to someone, use the word, it gets the squiggly line thing. It's not recognized as a thing.
Yes.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't acknowledge its existence. But So if you go on Google and type chemtrails, go on to page 2 or page 3. Forget page 1. And if you go on Wikipedia, it will give you a load of lies. You know, just don't bother with Wikipedia. So it is, do your own research. And something I need to touch on, which is very, very important, is health. I mentioned this last time, a couple of weeks ago. It's very important that we detox, heavy metal detox, to take the metals out of our body that we're taking in. Not just from the skies, but we are surrounded by heavy metals, our whole environment, food, air, the furniture in our homes. We can pick up heavy metals from many, many sources. It's very important for our health that we actually get rid of them, and there's some easy and not too expensive ways to do this.
Okay, then. I wanted to touch on a little bit later on, because to me that's very, very important, right? Very, very important that we do touch on that. It's very, very important. You touch on HAARP, because I've heard about HAARP. I don't know if Tamara knows anything about that, right? But for those who probably haven't not familiar with HAARP, I want to break that down to what HAARP is about. Yeah.
There's actually in this book, there's a patent, because this thing, HAARP actually stands for High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program. Focus on the research. It's not research, it's very much alive and kicking. HAARP is basically a means of microwaving the upper atmosphere. They have various places around the world where they have grids of antennae. The most famous one's in Alaska. It's pretty big, but we do have our own in this country. I don't suggest anyone goes there, because you'll possibly have an attempt on your life if you do, and I don't say that lightly. No, that is no joke. Seriously. It is high security, video cameras. It is absolutely bristling with security, and there's someone there 24/7. It's not a very large place. I haven't been there myself.
Sorry, where's that? Where's that?
It's in Wales. It's in South Wales.
Okay, then.
And there are lots of antennas, but these all work in harmony with each other. Using HAARP, they can actually change the Gulf Stream. They can steer the weather the way they want to. Exactly how they do it is a technology and a science that's way over my head. I can read a chunk from the book, if you like, which explains it, but it is very scientific, and I don't actually understand it. So I think, right, okay, it's a bit like electricity. I don't know how electricity works, but I put a plug in and switch the light on, and it works. I know it works somehow, right? So HAARP works, and HAARP is out there. Using to change the weather, to manipulate the weather, they need metals. They need metal. They need conductivity in the atmosphere. Our atmosphere is now filled with metal particulates, filled the whole time. Sometimes they'll spray areas, because they're planning something. We had some earthquakes in Italy 3 years ago. My son happened to be there. He was working at the time, and I have friends in high places who were actually able to tell me that there was going to be an earthquake. And there was, but I was there just before the earthquake, and they were spraying and spraying and spraying that whole area. They needed the extra metals in the air in order to do it. The thing is, though, they have earthquakes in Italy anyway, so no one's going to be suspicious. Oh, it's an earthquake.
Okay. Yes.
So they can. The weather they're manipulating is kind of accepted. We get monsoons, we get earthquakes, we get tornadoes. So it's kind of, okay, we've got global warming. Oh, don't get me on that one. So it's, it's all part of the package, and we can expect extreme or unusual weather.
Let me jump in here, Cassandra, because as you're speaking, and you're really giving some very powerful information, and in my mind, right, what do they gain by doing all of this to to innocent human being. You know what I mean? I'm saying to myself, it's just mind bubbling what's going on here. You know what I mean? They're controlling the weather, earthquake, and they want to kill innocent. I mean, I mean, I don't know. Tamara, you want to come in there?
Yes, I don't believe that they control the weather. They can't even control themselves. In order to control anything, you have to be able to control yourself. And these people or these things, because I can't believe these can be people, and I know one thing for sure is that there are evil forces that are fighting against the creative power that they are that has always been here before time began. And these evil forces will go to any lengths with deceit. They are creating lies and spending billions and even trillions making all this sort of equipment and all that sort of stuff to convince people that they're controlling the weather. They control nothing. They are deceivers. They are liars. They are necromancers. They are nothing at all. Our Creator has the whole world in His hands. Can you try to say you're trying to control the sun or the wind and all that sort of thing and the seas, you know what I mean, and so on, that are actually being affected by lunar energy and so on and so forth? Yes, they're trying to play God, trying to replace God and say, we are the God now. There's no other God but we. Because that's what Satan said up in heaven. And so he was sent down here and banished from the rest of the universe. This is the only place that this evil demonic force could come, was down here. He couldn't go to Jupiter or anywhere else or any other universe, because there are trillions of universes out there, not just one or two or three. And he was limited from being a powerful being of the heavens to just that little spot here on earth. And he swore to wreck it, to destroy it, and all life on it, and all that God Almighty, our Creator, created here. And so this is what is happening. And Satan is the father of lies. You know what I mean? Because really and truly, we always give our power away when we believe Satan. He says, oh, go and jump off the bridge and all your troubles will be over. And you jump off the bridge and, your trouble isn't over. Because you end up in a world of spirit where you're no longer in the body, in the flesh, but really and truly it's a painful thing when you have to start all over again.
I just want to jump in here. Tamara, give chance for interjecting there, because, as you said, they're trying to play God. And anyway, it just showed the mindset, what we're dealing with right now. But I want to bring in that I know Cassandra's being very active. She works 24 hours a day. She might sleep sometimes 2 hours and then she's up again for the revolution. You know what I mean? So, I mean, what can one do as individual to, because I mean, obviously we're talking about bringing awareness, and we have to be quite clear. We're not talking about, let's go down to Parliament and strangle people and all that stuff there, you know what I mean?
It's a waste of time going to Parliament anyway. They're all in on it. Well, actually, no, they're not. The government are puppets. Controlled by the corporations, controlled by the global elite. It's all like a pyramid. Very, very, very few people at the very top controlling the world's finances and everything. Super billion millionaires these people are. But like you said, Tamara, that they're just, are they human? That's an actually interesting question, because nobody with an ounce of compassion would want to destroy the world, the air, the water, the soil, and the people that live here, and the animals. They just wouldn't on this vast scale.
Only evil would do things like that. You see, when you delight in evil people, they delight in destruction, in pain, in starvation, in all sorts of grief, in all sorts of disease, sickness, homelessness, orphans, and things like that, fatherless and motherless children. They love to create immorality, all sorts of things that lead us into a state of unhappiness and pain. You know, they love to see that. When you talk about peace to an evil person, man, they get angry with you. Peace, they don't want peace. You know, they you know, that's very hurtful for an evil man to live in peace. He likes to destroy.
Yeah. So the question will be now, Cassandra. I mean, what can one do at this present moment? You know, what do you think we should be doing, or what one can do? And yeah.
Well, there was a time when we could, well, I have tried with other people to lobby Parliament, and I've actually handed in stuff to 10 Downing Street. There's not many people who stood on the steps of 10 Downing Street, but I have.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like a juggernaut coming towards us, and we're the ants. You know, we are powerless, I believe, now that this thing has rolled out. 5G is the next big thing. And under the guise of giving us improved Wi-Fi from inside probably a castle, probably with 15-foot thick walls or whatever. But there's an ulterior motive, because they are going to. There's a very good YouTube video called 5G is a. I'm trying to think what the first word is. 5G is kill grid is the bulk of the title, but I can't think of the first word now. He outlines the effects of these megahertz upon the body, and how the current 4G is already having an effect on our oxygen molecules, but this is taking things to a higher level. People will be ill, there is no doubt about it, as it gets rolled out. Network, that's the word. Network 5G is the kill grid. People will be very ill with this unless they detox from heavy metals, because we're walking antennae for this. This 5G has to be, it hasn't got a very broad band or something like the last one does, so they need transmitters at 500-meter intervals, I believe. So what they're going to do, and what they're already doing, is using lampposts. So, and I think they've put up, without anyone suspecting, lampposts all over the bloody country, so that they can get this into people's homes under the guise, as I say, of you can get improved, you know, download speeds will be super fast and all the rest of it, which is a load about, well, it's true, but it's at a great risk for your health. And also, as part of this program, 5G cannot if you have trees, big mature trees around your home or your flat, wherever you live, they will block the signal. So guess what the government are now doing? They are chopping all the trees down. Oh yes.
Okay.
They are chopping the trees down.
Okay.
1 minute they talk about we need oxygen, we have too much carbon dioxide, which is another load of baloney. Okay, so we need trees. The trees are the lungs of the planet. They give us the oxygen we need. There is a wholesale mass destruction of trees in the UK right now. Right now. They are doing it to get this into everyone's home, especially in cities. Obviously, you know, if you live in a city, so tree-lined avenues, no longer. They'll just be tree stumps. I know in Sheffield, people have been protesting in their hundreds, and they've got the police there, as the guys are with the chainsaws pulling the trees down. The police are there dragging people off to prison. They don't want people protesting. They just want the guys to get on with their jobs, you know. So this is all part of 5G, and believe you me, quote me or whatever, this will make people very ill. It will make people ill. And cancer, because this is radiation as well, cancer will go up. And then the government will say, we need to do more research into cancer. What a load, it just makes my blood boil. They're the ones causing all this, but they need to do more research into it. And they'll get more and more people out there running and, you know, baking cakes and all this thing to raise funds for cancer research, when the answer is coming from the skies The stuff from the skies will give you cancer.
Yes,
The 5G will give you cancer. You
yeah.
have to protect yourself. You
yeah.
really, really do. I cannot stress this enough.
Well, I just want to jump in there because it's quite interesting. Earlier on, we had Phil, and we was talking about everything about cancer and how they're manipulating the people, them, right?
Oh yeah.
And one of the things I was saying is that I remember a few years ago I was looking at a sign by the I was on Underground, and they're saying that about something about cancer research, and one thing they're saying that they're getting closer to the truth, right?
Oh really? Oh,
So-
that's exciting.
Yeah. So anyway, I said to myself, they've been saying this about 10, 15, 20 years ago, right? And then I said to myself, that's strange because imagine this, right? If I'm a manager of a football club, or a manager of an international, like England or Italy or whatever, if I don't get results, right? If I lose about 8 games in a row, I'm gonna get sacked. No sentiment about it. You will get sacked. So how comes they haven't got no results for cancer? Then I get to understand it's one big hustle. Some people want to understand what's going on there. So it's just madness. It is madness.
There's all sorts of other things I could talk about, but Big Pharma, as we call it, they are making a huge amount of money. The drugs industry is a massive industry. It's in their interests that people are actually not well.
Yeah.
You make an awful lot of money out of someone that's not well. You can pump them full of drugs. Now then, this brings me also onto vaccines, because vaccines, they are pushing and pushing and pushing the vaccine agenda. In fact, in some parts of the world, let me think. I think in Australia, but in some parts of the world, they're withholding your social security benefits if you refuse to have your child vaccinated.
Whoa!
In America, they're pushing to you will be imprisoned if we don't let you vaccinate your child. They want every child to be vaccinated. And what's in the vaccines?
Yes. Come on.
Mercury and aluminium.
That's right. That's right.
It's better you go to prison than taking the mercury and the aluminium. Isn't that right? You know, or allow it to be administered to your newborn baby. Better you go to prison, for God's sake. Come on, let's get real here.
Yeah.
It's like saying, well, if you don't do this, you're gonna have to, stay in your house for 6 months. It's better you stay in your house for 6 months, and walk around your back garden if you've got one.
Yeah.
But they're so hell-bent on getting drugs into people. This is the thing. And, there's something... hang on, I will read a bit from this book here. I've actually typed out pages from it. Let me see. There's all sorts of crazy stuff here. Aluminium, this is just something from the book. Aluminium strips the body of boron. Unassailed by aluminium, boron builds strong bones, defends the heart, and helps calcium metabolize phosphorus and magnesium. As a neurotoxin, aluminium blocks nerve impulses, dulls thinking and concentration, and can produce dizziness, memory loss, impaired coordination, involuntary tremors, speech disorders, loss of balance and energy. This is the aluminium that's in the chemtrails. But the thing is, I'm mentioning the boron because I know a lot of older people who, they have problems with osteoporosis, their bones break easily when they fall, they're having knee replacements and hip replacements, there's an awful lot of that. That is because they're depleted in boron. And I've been taking something called borax for about 2.5 years now. It's actually a banned substance. I recommend it highly, so you can call me a mass murderer if you like, because it's supposed to kill you. But the thing is, it's supposed to kill you if you take it, right? You've got to sign a thing, I declare I'm not taking this. And in fact, when I went back on the original website when I'd ordered my first lot, and I only ordered a small amount, which is a bit stupid of me, they said, if we have reason to believe that you're taking this substance for yourself, we have the right to prosecute you. So I thought, right, perhaps order it from somewhere else. So I've actually got it from eBay now, and apparently it makes superior slime. So if anyone asks what you're doing with it, it makes superior slime for the kiddies, right? So it's okay. But borax is what's needed. Now, as Brother Dougie will tell you, I walk miles. I mean, literally, I've done about 16 miles today. I've walked miles today, and I've got 20 miles to walk tomorrow. I know where I'm going tomorrow. It's a long, long day. My bones and joints are fine. I did have a problem with bursitis a few years ago, which is like a burning in my hip, probably because I walked too many miles. And I did take a homeopathic remedy, which did help. And then it flared up again, and I started taking borax, and I've never been troubled since, except the time when I didn't wash out the bottle. You get a film that builds up on the inside sometimes, and I thought, I'll wash that out tomorrow. I left it on the side for 10 days, and my bursitis pain and this burning came back, and I thought, oh my God, it must be the borax. So back on borax again, and as I say, that was about a year ago, and I've never had a problem since. It's very good for people with arthritis. Some guy did some research in the 60s and basically told us shut up by the pharmaceutical companies because they are making money out of their own drugs to help people with their arthritis. He had the answer, but he was told to shut up and peddle his wares. Well, told not to peddle anything, just to shut up, basically. And lie
Okay,
low.
then. We've got about 5 minutes left, right? And what we'd like you to do, because Tamara's take some information. If you can text me the proper spelling about, is it called borax?
Borax, B-O-R-A-X.
No, if you could text me that, right, to my phone, and also text me the information with the film, the documentary film.
The film, yeah.
Yeah, please. So, because we definitely want to investigate into that and do probably a screening in the near future. Definitely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, but definitely, because we definitely be interested in myself would like to have purchase that product there. And so forth, yeah. But as usual, Cassandra, we can't get enough of you. You know what I mean? You know, and we have to bring you in next week. You know, I don't think we've finished. Have we finished for Tamara? Because she's got so much information.
Well,
you know?
Just as an aside, I should also mention borax actually detox from heavy metals as well.
Okay,
it's actually got a double. It's doubly useful, which is another reason why I have it. But one of the most important things, I must get this one in, to detox from heavy metals is a product called zeolite. Now, I mentioned this last time
How do you
a couple
spell
of weeks ago.
If you could text,
Z-E-O-L-I-T-E. Zeolite.
Zeolite, L-I-T-E.
Okay.
L-I-T-E. Now, it's available online. It is not cheap. There are two types you can buy. There's one that works at digestive level, which is cheaper, but there's one that works at cellular level, and it is nanotechnology, the very technology they're using against us through the sky stuff. But this is very, very good. It detoxes you from the heavy metals and other things. We can go into that another time. Made by a company called Touchstone Essentials, Pure Body. Very, very good. It is considered the bee's knees of heavy metal detox, and you have to take it every single day.
Every single day.
It's 4 sprays 3 times a day.
Okay.
There's no restrictions on with food, before food, after food. Just I spread it out because the effects kind of wear off after about 5-6 hours. So I spread it out throughout the day. So first thing in the morning, lunchtime, and then sort of 9 o'clock.
If you could text, sorry, if you could text me that information, that would be perfect as well. And then we need to follow up on that when I speak to you next week. But we definitely want to, get people to be fully aware and start protect themselves from all these kind of stuff. So, Cassandra, I will have to put a pin in it right now because we literally got about a minute now.
No worries. No worries. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and we definitely want to have you here if we can next week. Yeah.
And stay positive because yes, we are being watched over, and I absolutely firmly believe that the world will be rid of all this evil eventually, but we've just got to...
Absolutely. We just got to keep the faith.
We've got to keep the faith and hang on in there, and it will be okay.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, we have to, as they say, God helps those who help themselves. We have to look after our health and our sanity and stay positive.
Absolutely.
And that's, you know, all helps as well.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Thank you very much, Cassandra.
No worries. Thanks, Brother Dougie. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, I'll speak to you tomorrow. All right then.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
As the money grew and grew, philanthropy was part of it too. My house was open to all but a few. Protecting people, investing in others with something to do. Got real busy making music at Easy Street with star artists, creating songs, creating beats with live instruments that took you to the place that commences with the drum and bass, with rhythm and lead coming into play, keyboards and brass section with so much to say, as lead vocals and harmony led the way. Rico was phenomenal on the trombone. Angus from Aswad was extraordinary on drums. Huey Isachar, a bass superstar. Sugar Minott vocals really sweetened the place. The voices of the Heptones, Trevor Hartley and Winston Fergus flew at a melodious and passionate pace. I laid on the ganja, food and drinks, cabs to ferry artists from A to B, and paid them cash accordingly. In a thick marijuana mist, we produced reggae you couldn't resist, like Kind Man, Visions and Oja, to name but a few. Suddenly Engineer Eddie called me to the phone. Heard my girl Makita say my front door was chopped down that day. I stood silent with nothing to say. Kept cool and carried on recording till the session was done. Then went to the spot to witness my losses from jealous people, my trials and crosses. With their guile and greed, they never found the holy herb, the ganja breed, that was there in big supply, but it never caught their eye. Over $250,000 in sound equipment, vinyl, master tapes, and clothes were gone. That feeling in the gut didn't feel like fun. And as vengeful thoughts came my way, I heard the voice of God Almighty say, "Leave it to me, son. Put the posse and the gun and the knife away. You did no wrong, and they shall surely pay."